What's up? What's up? Oh shit. Make sure I get my mic and I'll turn back on. All right. Now I got my mic turned on. What's up? What's up, Pim? Check this out. Look what I found. What's up, Sean? So they are definitely lying to us. Let me make sure I got my audio right. All right, I do. Okay. All right. So the US Navy, hold on, let me play this video first, right? Because the news and all is repeating this. And it's a lie. And I can prove it to you. All right, let me back this up right here. I'm not gonna play the whole video. I just want to play a section of it. Because I think this is where they're all getting their source from. What's up, Bulldog?
A Chinese tanker sailed straight through the Strait of Hormuz, past the U.S. Navy blockade, past Trump's warnings, past the threats of interception and seizure, and nothing happened. So,
Are we sure about that?
did China just expose the biggest bluff in modern military history, or is something more complicated going on? Let's get into it. First, the context. Trump's naval blockade of Iranian shipping officially kicked in at 10 a.m. Eastern on April 13th. The stated goal was simple and aggressive: cut off Iran's oil exports, nearly 2 million barrels a day, by stopping Iranian linked vessels dead in the water. Trump's message to the world was equally simple: unauthorized ships could face interception, diversion, or outright seizure. Bold, clear, unambiguous. Then, with
All right. So the only reason I'm playing this video is because I think this is where the news has got their information from, and it says the ship's name.
4 hours of the blockade starting, a sanctioned Chinese-owned tanker called the Rich Starry sailed.
All right, cool. So you hear that, right? The Rich Starry
Right through the strait and kept going. The internet immediately
sailed right through the strait and kept going. Okay. All right, good. We got that. All right. So let me share this with you right here. And it's important because I want you to realize just how big this place is. I know y'all probably can't use this, but U.S. Navy carrier strike groups are currently positioned with approximately 250 to 300 kilometers, about 125 miles out. Okay. All right, cool. So we've established that. All right. Well, now let me show you this. They're definitely lying to us. What's up, Cosmic Crazy? How you doing? All right. So let me show you this right here. Okay. So this is Marine Tracker. This is the Rich Starry. So I have got a time lapse and I want you to watch it. And if you look down here at the bottom of your screen, I don't know if you can see it properly, but I'll read it out to you. It's on April 13th. This was yesterday. So to go to distance out here, from here to the Navy is sitting right off the shore right here. This is about 125 miles off the coast, right? So it takes a long time to get that way. All right, so let's play this track. Let me speed it up. So we're going to speed it up so it don't take a long time, because this is a hell of a long distance. Just follow that red boat right there. Once it bends the curve, I'm going to draw the map in closer. Now remember, they're saying that this ship traversed the straits. Just keep watching, keep watching, keep watching, keep watching. Keep watching, keep watching. All right, so now it is April 14th at 8 o'clock in the morning. All right, this is military time, 1800. You know, that's so it's at 8:14 in the morning. It gets out here and it stops. This is where the military says, "Hey, turn around, turn around. Your final warning. We're gonna blow you out of the water. Turn around, or we will board you." Whatever they tell them. So it pulls up and it turns around and it starts going back in. So approximately right now, it is 4:57 in the afternoon. Right now, it is 12. It's at noon right now, going back up into the straits today. They never let them out, but the news is reporting that this boat sailed right past the Navy, no problem, no nothing. It is currently still underway, going back up into the straits. It never came out of there. They wouldn't let them come out. Why the news is reporting that they came out of there, I have no idea, but you can see it. It's still underway going back. And right now it's whatever time it is right now. This is where this boat sits at currently as we speak. Why they said that this boat passed the Hormuz Straits, I have no idea, but it definitely hasn't. And I can take you to another news article. They're all reporting that that boat just kind of shoved Trump around. And if you look on the internet, underneath the comments, it's like, oh, he has no balls. He has. It's the same thing that they've been doing. They're using propaganda against everybody. People just don't have a fucking clue. And what's sad is it's so easily looked up because that's AIS. It's satellite tracking. Nobody can. I don't think you can mess with it. I didn't go in there and adjust it and make it look like somebody's out of there. But why they reported that, I have no idea. But it's all over Fox News and everything. And it's almost like these people don't do any research into nothing. They just get something and run with it. Hold on, let me pull something else up. We don't care about that. What's up? What's up? It never left the strait. It tried to depart, and the Navy vessels wouldn't let it. But they're reporting it. Right, smart mouth. I know, bro, and it's crazy how many people actually believe it, man. They are falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. Oh, and they're. I can't believe like that they haven't come back out and straightened that out yet. All right, see, they ain't talking. They're just playing a bunch of music. Let me find a major news channel. It's that's reporting that it has. The New York Post posted this. Look, it's taking off. It's coming out. It didn't leave. And see, they clip off of it. It didn't leave. It gets out here to the strait and they turn them around. I don't know why they're reporting that it left. What's up? Yeah, see, it doesn't show the whole clip. It doesn't show the whole clip. It's propaganda. I just showed you the whole clip. That is crazy. That is fucking wild, man. They're lying and I can prove it. How wild is that? Some crazy redneck in the woods can prove that they're fucking lying. That is crazy. Let me pull Marine Tracker back up. Yeah, they didn't show the whole clip. It's propaganda. That boat did not leave. Why? Anything to try to make Trump look bad. That's what they're doing. I'm convinced of it now. I kind of suspected that, but I'm totally convinced of it now. And the crazy thing is anybody can go look this up. All you have to do is to speed the track up and hit play. This is where it kind of did that crazy loop that they showed the day before. It only gives you the last 24 hours. It went out there. The Navy said, turn your ass around. I know, Bulldog. It's crazy, though, man. It's crazy how many people believe that. And I'll show you how I caught them. See, anybody can go and download this marine traffic global shipping tracks, right? I've mentioned that before. And look, they come out here and they kind of mess around for a second. Right there. I'm not pausing it. It's still sped up. This is when the Navy says, hey, stop. No forward propulsion or we'll do something to you. They call somebody to get authority to figure out what to do, and they turn around and go back up into the Straits of Hormuz. Why they are saying that they left, I have no idea, but they absolutely did not leave. So over here on the side, they got a search bar filter and a My Fleet. And if you look over here, I've got this one and another one pinned out that belong to China that's in there. And I just happened to pin that boat yesterday just by a total coincidence. But you can click on it. And it tells you actual time of departure. It tried to leave on the 13th at 10:10. Then you can go back, play past track. And then that's where it brings you back to the island and it shows you that it tried to leave and it goes and does that. They are lame and they are busted. So you can go up here and put ship type in and see I've got all the regular ones turned off. Like you can turn the cargo ships back on with it and it shows up green. I got all that stuff off because all we care about is the tankers, tracking the tankers. So this is navigational aid, little pink dots, and unspecified ships are these little white ones and they don't have them. Pink aid, the navigation aid is like your tugboats and stuff like that. But you can track this yourself. But if you're wanting to know a ship, you just go on it. Just go over the top of it with your cursor and it says destination, TBA, wherever that is. Position received 4 minutes ago because it takes a second for the satellite to go up and come back down. But you can click on any of these and add them, right? Let's see what this one is. A lot of these are probably going to be at anchor. Here, we'll go over here and we'll kind of pull down in there and I'll just show you. All right, so like this one here, position received 3 minutes ago. Let's click on it and see what it says. See down here where it says at anchor. If you hit past track, it's not going to show you anything except for this is where it was probably this is where the anchor swings. So it's an anchor right here. And as the tide goes out and all, it swings. That's what that is. And I bet you if we look it up on the track, that's exactly what it's going to show us. So it's been here for a while. Yeah, see it? It's swinging right now. It's at anchor. That's what that means. And it's just kind of moving in the tide. All right, so let's back it up. All right, so let's go back to vessel filters, ship type. Okay, tankers. Ain't that crazy? Why would they lie like that? It's so easy to catch them. But over here, they got a list of whatever, different tankers and all. But let's back up. All right, so we have to click back on it. I don't know why, but it won't take you back to a live map. So we'll look at the photos of it anyway. Let me share the screen again. Ain't that crazy, man? So this is a boat that they're talking about. They're saying that this this is the Richard Rich Starry. And it's out of Indonesia. Ha! What's up, Rich? Now, I'm wondering why they lying like that. It doesn't make any sense, man. Why would they lie? What else are they lying about? And listen, if I can figure it out, Jesus Christ, I know there's a lot of people a lot more smarter than I am that can figure this shit out. Even the fucking internet, dude. Even Google was saying, yeah, it traversed the Strait of Hormuz, and that's a lie. It absolutely did not. Why can't I get this to back up? Oh, okay. I was hitting the wrong button. There we go. We back to the maps now. All right, let me click back on this. I'll share it again. Yeah, people not having time to look it up, but that's wild, man. I wonder what I can do about making them correct it. I wonder if I can get them to retract it and what it would take to get them to retract it, or if they even would. But that's wild, man. But and they have broadcasted that to millions of people today. That they just barged through Trump. They was trying to make it like Trump's weak and he's not standing his ground, and people are pissed behind it. And it's like, bro, it's not fucking true. It is not fucking true. Let me see if I can find him again. All we have to do is just go over the top of them. We'll find him again. Yeah, there it is right there. Position received 11 minutes ago. Position received 11 minutes ago. So they ain't even made it back in the straits from being turned around. How fucking crazy is that? Yeah, exactly, Copper Top, exactly. You can't get them to do shit. But if you have a large platform like Charlie Kirk, you can demand change, but you know how that ends. Oh, I'm not trying to get them to change, bro, for sure. They're going to create an illustration for sure. I knew they were. Why would Trump send all them fucking ships over there not to enforce what the hell he was going to enforce? It just didn't make no sense to me. Why would you spend millions and millions and millions of dollars moving all that shit over there just for a bluff? It just didn't make sense. I said, let me go check and see if it's what this motherfuckers did. And you know as good as well as anybody, bro, that they gotta have AI on. What the fuck going on now? Did they turn the AIS off of it? This vessel is out of coastal AIS range. Access vessel avoids details via satellite. Oh shit. But that's definitely it. That is definitely it. That was it right there. That's where it's at. Position received 5 minutes ago. That's fucking wild, man. Lying bastards. But you can, if you go watch the news broadcast part of it, it doesn't show them turning around. It just gets it up to a certain point and they cut it off. What a bunch of fucking rats. Yeah, I don't think he's bluffing either, bro. And, listen, so just like with the Melania stuff, right? I honestly think, and I said it earlier in my stream, I think that he actually found Melania through Epstein. I don't think he's in the Epstein files like everybody thinks he is. And the reason he couldn't speak about it is because it was embarrassing for her, which I get. You know what I mean? I really do get that. But the only problem I have with that is he knew about it until it wasn't good for him. You know what I'm saying? That's my problem with it. But still, I don't think people realize how bad China had it in for us and what they were going to do as far as like our money and shit like that. They're already trying to topple our dollar. We all know that, but nobody seems to give a fuck. And I'm going to tell you why they don't give a fuck, because America's had it too good for too long. They don't realize just how bad it can fucking get. If they did, they would think twice about this shit. But everybody's had such a kickback, easy life, being able to fucking eat and, do whatever it is that they want to do with no big sacrifices, that they don't know what the fuck hardship's really about. So it doesn't scare them. What's up, Ford? But as you see, it's a lie. It's a fucking lie. I'm fixing to post it though. I'm definitely going to post it. Damn, that's crazy. I just wanted to share that with y'all. I wasn't planning on staying live long. I had to say something about it. I had to get it out there. Let's see what this dude right here is talking about. Shit. Tex hates this live streamer. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My name is Matt Morris. Boy, howdy do we have a lot to talk about today. Of course, we are live right now on YouTube as well as on Rumble, as well as on Twitch at Matt Morris TV. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we have a massive show ahead of us. It seems like another round of negotiations might be taking place
What's up, Dan?
within the next 2 days between the United States and the Iranian regime, and that President Trump himself might actually attend these negotiations in person. Makes you think that some sort of concrete deal has been achieved, right? And when we say deal, we mean complete and total capitulation, surrender, dare I say, of the Iranian regime. We're going to break down that entire situation in a couple moments here. Trump's blockade of the Hormuz has now officially been in effect for over 24 hours with, I might add, 100% success. And now both the Iranian regime as well as the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party in China, well, both of them are panicking, scrambling, and in fact, blowing up President Trump's phone number, begging for a way out of this entire ordeal. It's going to be a big day. We have a lot to talk about. The great nation of Spain, otherwise known as España, has just made an absolutely fatal, critical mistake that will, in all likelihood, leave their country in complete and total ruin. Pretty much, Spain, the leaders of Spain, the radically progressive leaders of Spain, have just effectively spit in President Trump's face. Not a good idea. And I think they're going to suffer for that. There is also much more to the currently unfolding Eric Swalwell scandal than meets the eye, or at least than what the mainstream media wants all of you to know about. I'm not kidding when I say this, but this entire scandal with Eric Swalwell really actually goes so deep that it actually, frankly, has the potential to destroy the entire Democrat political establishment. We're going to break down that today as well. This Eric Swalwell stuff that you know that's getting reported by the mainstream media is frankly just the tip of the iceberg. And also, ladies and gentlemen, today we have some absolutely massive, stunningly stellar immigration updates, as well as some massive legal victories pertaining to immigration updates for the Trump administration. If you are a fan of mass deportations, give me a 1 in the live audience if you are. If you're a fan of mass deportations, I think that you are going to enjoy, you are going to like today's news. Now, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, today is going to be one hell of a show. We have like 5 massive, huge topics to break down today, and we are going to break them down. Do me a favor before we get into all of it, please, person to person, make sure to hit that like button and make sure to subscribe. We have a lot to break down today, folks. With that little preamble out of the way, what do you say we get right into the content of the show? Breaking news. Pakistan. Let's start things off by talking about this potential new deal with the Iranian regime. Breaking: Pakistan has proposed, as of this morning, a second round of U.S.-Iran talks in Islamabad as early as Thursday. What is that, 2 days from now? Before the current ceasefire expires.
I'll tell you why, British Bulldog, because they can't do what they want to do with him in there. He won't let them. He won't let them. He's come in here and disrupted so much and fired so many of them that they're pissed. They do have Trump derangement syndrome.
2 Pakistani officials. Breaking news. American officials are saying Washington and Iran are in fact heading towards a new round of talks. We're getting the word that America and Iran, they are going to meet up for another round of talks. Breaking: Trump has told New York Post this morning that U.S.-Iran talks could be happening over the next 2 days in Pakistan, adding that the United States is more inclined to hold them there because the field marshal in Pakistan has been doing such a great job, according to President Trump. Of course, this is Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir, who's sort of been the lead intermediary on the Pakistani front. Iran has not publicly confirmed the time frame yet. We have another report. Following that, Trump said, I am inclined to go to the negotiations in Pakistan within the next 2 days. So Trump then added on that he is inclined to attend these negotiations in person. Last time, a couple days ago, he sent Kushner, Witkoff, and Vice President J.D. Vance. Trump wants to be there in person. The master deal maker wants to be there in person. More updates. Trump said, I don't think the negotiations with Iran are actually going to take place in Pakistan. We have another place that we are considering moving the negotiations to.
After a career working for major energy companies, I decided to look into coal, and I realized there was a better way that we've been overlooking for 100 years.
Based upon Joe's insight, we built and validated a test facility, and we are starting to build our first plant in West Virginia. This first plant will process more than 7,500 tons of coal daily, producing more than 15,000 barrels of clean fuels per day. At full capacity, we foresee 8 to 900 million in annual profit from this single facility.
Here's where you come in. Your investment will help us finish engineering, acquire land, and kick off construction on our first commercial facility.
Bro, they are
Foundation
lying.
of
They are fucking lying.
So Trump said he wants to go. He's considering going, but maybe he doesn't.
Hold on, let me show y'all. This is another one. Fucking shit at. And this shit looks official. CNN. This is what CNN's reporting. Ah, dang it. And it's the same fucking thing.
The United States started its naval blockade
watch what she
yesterday
does.
at 10 a.m. Eastern. We're around 17 hours in. And basically, a lot of the traffic, the little trickle we've seen since the start of the war has come to a screeching halt, apart from one incident. And this is really interesting because this is a Chinese-owned vessel. It's now said to have tested the U.S. naval blockade because it has passed through the Strait
Yeah,
of Hormuz.
she's wording
Let's
that
take you
shit.
through this. This is a Rich Starry. This is a tanker said to be carrying methanol. It started
Down here's
moving
where all the-
from
Damn, I'm pointing at the screen.
Sharjah
Down
here
here's
in
where
the
the mines
UAE.
are.
Remember, a lot of these vessels turn off the AIS transponders, so you don't really know the origin of which port that they moved
Now I
from.
want you to see
Starting
something.
to move towards
Watch how slick this bitch thinks she is. So, remember this right here. This is the two islands. Now watch how slick this bitch thinks she is. This is what got me looking at him side-eyed.
carrying methanol. It started moving from Sharjah here in the UAE. Remember, a lot of these vessels turn off the
And now she's
AIS
trying to tell you
transponders,
they
so you don't
turned it
really
off.
know
No, the fuck
the
they
origin
didn't.
of which port that they moved from. Starting to move towards Keshem and Larak Islands, then, starts aborting mission, moves
Look,
back,
and
and
then
then
now it's
starts
coming
to
back up.
take
There's
that
the
route
two
once
islands
again,
again.
passing through the strait in the early hours of this
They haven't
morning. Now,
passed
this is
the
a
fucking strait, bitch.
tanker that has been sanctioned since March 2023 by the U.S. Treasury Department because it has links to
That's
Iran.
the same route
Now,
that it
from what we
just
understand
took.
from
They're not
experts,
playing
this
the whole
tanker was able
AISS
to move
clip.
through
Why they're fucking
completely
AIS
unfazed by
ASI clip.
the
I don't know why
U.S.
they're trying
naval
to push that
blockade.
off
So we
this.
don't know what
I don't know why they're trying to push that off. She's fucking lying. I just showed y'all the clip from the 13th to the 14th. They're lying. They turn, and you know what else I noticed? They said that they turned back once already. That's bullshit because it's 100 and something miles, right? And that boat don't move 10 knots. So it takes 10 hours roughly, maybe 12 knots at the most to get that far. So it takes damn near all day to get out of the straits to get into the ocean to start with. They're fucking lying and they're caught. What it is I know better because I'm always on the water. What the fuck are these people doing? Yeah, and 1 billion people bought her. I don't know about 1 billion, but let's see how many people watch this shit. Almost 1 million. Damn near 1 million. Matter of fact, let's get a screenshot of that. Because I'm going to add that in the video. Hell yeah, we busted them. One dumbass redneck drinking Red Bulls and smoking Marlboros, baby. Fuck them. Fuck is wrong with these people? And they wonder why you don't believe nothing that they say. You know what I mean? All right, let's go back to watching old boy up here real quick.
Baker wants to be there in person. More updates. Trump said, I don't think the negotiations with Iran are actually going to take place in Pakistan. We have another place that we are considering moving the negotiations to.
Build your perfect storage setup with U.S. General, only at Harbor Freight.
MS2 runs a lot of commercials.
How are you going to pitch the ball?
So Trump said he wants to go. He's considering going.
Yeah, shout out
but
to MOL.
maybe he doesn't actually want to go to Pakistan. Maybe it's a bit too far. Maybe it's a security risk, probably for security reasons. He doesn't want to go. So he's willing to meet with the Iranian regime in
Well, y'all
some
do me
other
a favor
place.
then. I'm going to
Where
post
might that
it
be? Urgent.
on a
President
video.
Trump says
Need everybody
the
to
upcoming
go
negotiations
and
with
share it,
Iran may be held in a European location and that we will not hold them in Turkey. Turkey offered.
When I post this next video, I need everybody to go to my channel and share it because it needs to be shown. They're fucking lying and we got the proof.
Trump says, we're not going to do them in Pakistan.
Normally, I don't ask
We're
people
not
to
going to do them
share,
in Turkey.
but I need
We're
y'all
going
to
to do
share
them in
this
some
one.
European location, but we don't know yet exactly where. Now, I saw, this just popped in my head here. I saw Switzerland yesterday
will,
morning.
Bulldog, I will.
Switzerland. They
putting
spoke
it
up and
together right
said,
now.
hello, guten Tag. We are willing to have the negotiations in Switzerland. So that might be the place that President Trump is thinking of or he's considering. According to the New York Times, citing 2 senior Iranian officials, in response to this alleged U.S. proposal for a 20-year suspension of Iranian uranium enrichment, Iran countered at the recent negotiations in Pakistan to J.D. Vance. The Iranians countered with a proposal for a 5-year severely reduced suspension of uranium enrichment, which was rejected by U.S. President Donald J. Trump, per a U.S. official speaking to the New York Times. Additionally, Iran refused to allow enriched material out of the country, which was a key U.S. demand, but instead the Iranians offered to dilute that material, the enriched uranium, domestically. They would dilute it on their own soil. Now, I said allegedly up here at the top of this, U.S. proposal for a 20-year suspension of Iranian uranium enrichment. This is my personal opinion. I have a very hard time believing that President Trump signed off on a 20-year moratorium on Iranian uranium enrichment. Is that agreeable to President Trump? Do you think that Trump would sign off on a 20-year moratorium? Trump wants a permanent moratorium. That's what he wants. He wants a complete and total comprehensive shutdown of Iranian uranium enrichment. That's very hard to say. Good Lord. Iranian uranium enrichment. 20 years. I have a very hard time believing that that is the deal that Trump has floated to the Iranians. Regardless, it seems like they have rejected it, maybe allegedly. We got a statement from President Trump this morning. He said this, quote, I am not in favor of granting Iran 20 years to suspend uranium enrichment.
All right, y'all give me
This is coming out of the official
Mirror.
Saudi news. 22 million followers. Good Lord. I'm sorry. 22 million followers. Good Lord. Official Saudi news. A quote from Trump. I am not in favor of granting Iran 20 years to suspend uranium enrichment. like I said, I have a very hard time believing that Trump would ever sign off on any uranium enrichment. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20, 30, 100 years from now. No, going into this, we said unconditional shutdown of the Iranian regime's nuclear program, enrichment and otherwise. Unconditional, that means no conditions. 20 years would categorically be a condition. No conditions. Shut it down. 100% shut down forever. Permanent. So Trump says, yeah, no, we're not doing this 20-year thing. So I guess the fake news media came up overnight and said, Trump offered them a 20-year moratorium. Fact check. Seems like he did not. That seems to be fake news. So that is the current status of these negotiations. It seems like a deal is going to be made. Now, we know, this is what we spoke about yesterday. The Iranians called Trump personally. Trump spoke to somebody, some shot caller in Iran yesterday. And now we're hearing from Trump after that call yesterday that Trump is willing to go in person, not send an intermediary delegation. Trump is willing to go in person to meet with the Iranians, not in Pakistan, but in Europe.
I'm putting it together right now.
I try not to read too much into this stuff, but we're going to do it anyway. The fact that Trump is now talking publicly about going in person to meet with the Iranians, that makes me think that a deal has tentatively been, that an acceptable deal has tentatively been agreed upon between Trump himself and the Iranian shot caller himself, whoever that is. Because remember, yesterday we got the report, we got the news, the confirmation that this Iranian negotiation delegation that was sent from Iran to Pakistan to meet with J.D. Vance, that they actually were only negotiators. They were not the final shot callers. They didn't have the power or the privilege to concretely sign on to a deal. They had to go back home to Iran, talk to their boss, talk to their superior. Who knows? Maybe it's the cardboard cutout of the supreme leader. God knows.
Are you trying to feed your dog better but stuck between overpriced fresh food and low quality kibble? Hi, I'm Dr. Stephanie Lipp, Spot and Tango's vet advisor and a licensed veterinarian in New York City. I'm constantly asked by pet owners the best quality.
Nobody gives a damn about them pets.
So they went back
I'm
to
sorry,
Iran.
y'all. I'm trying to fuck.
They talked to whoever they had to talk to, and then they had a phone call with Trump. That was yesterday. And now this morning, Trump is saying, okay, I'll meet with them in person somewhere in Europe. Tentatively, seems to me like they have capitulated or met Trump's demands, and Trump is confident enough in that now he is going to go in person. That seems to be where we are. And this is where we talk about this blockade. This is where we talk about China and how Trump's blockade was a masterstroke. Remember how for weeks and months we've been hearing that President Trump had no plan? There is no plan. The Hormuz, Trump had no idea what the Hormuz even was. Remember how we've heard all those people saying those things? Well, actually, President Trump has had a plan this entire time, and the Hormuzian blockade, using the U.S. Navy to blockade that Hormuz, blockade specifically Iranian-flagged vessels or vessels carrying Iranian oil, was the masterstroke. It was the genius-level move that has now forced the Iranian regime to submit. Seems to be. And we're going to break all this down. Let's get right into this, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, both the Iranian regime as well as China, the CCP, have both just completely caved to President Trump's blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. And now both of them are begging for a deal to be made. They want a way out. Let's go ahead and break it all down. Ladies and gentlemen, just in breaking news, Iran folds. They have publicly said that they are not going to test the U.S. in the Strait of Hormuz. People were wondering, they were speculating whether or not the Iranian regime was going to try to send oil tankers or military vessels, etc., to test whether or not Trump was serious with his naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Publicly, they came out today and said, you know what? We're not going to test. Why? Because they want a deal. Why would they be trying to test Trump's naval blockade when they're on the cusp of surrendering or tapping out? They want a deal. Well, they're not. Just in breaking news, the U.S. has come out and said, CENTCOM this morning came out and said that no ships, 0 ships have breached the Strait of Hormuz blockade during the first 24 hours. Nobody's gone through. Iranian vessels, Chinese vessels, not one drop of Iranian oil has made its way out of the Hormuz. Now, of course, non-Iranian affiliated vessels are free to go in and out, of course. This U.S. naval blockade of the Hormuz is only targeted and applied to vessels that have some association with Iran. They're carrying Iranian oil. They're traveling in and out of Iranian ports. And so who has really been targeted by this U.S. naval blockade that went into effect 24 hours ago now? Iran and China, which is why they are panicking and melting down right now. Iran is furious. Trump's blockade is turning out to be a disaster for the Iranian regime. Let's break it down.
The president's warning, if any Iranian ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they'll be immediately eliminated. U.S. Marines are ready to board Iranian oil tankers, and CENTCOM's ready to neutralize any Iranian fast attack boats that slip into the strait to cause mischief. One of Iran's surveillance drones flew too close to one of our destroyers, and we blew it out of the sky. And 2 tankers flying under false flags on their way to China were already intercepted and turned away. This is completely reversing everything Iran did to the strait. Now, every nation's ship in the world can sail out except Iran's. 15 American warships are involved in the operation. The mission to free the strait got underway this weekend when 2 guided missile destroyers sailed straight up the gut. The USS Frank E. Peterson and the USS Michael Murphy were the first 2 warships to bust into the strait since the start of the war. The regime threatened to attack if American ships entered. We did it anyway, and they did nothing.
Nothing.
And we're about to start clearing the strait of mines, so oil tankers have a clear path out. The Iranians dropped some mines into the strait, but they forgot where they put them.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, as embarrassing as that is for the Iranians, he mentioned something very curious here. He said not only are Iranian vessels not willing to push the U.S. naval blockade, we saw that. 2 Chinese naval vessels were sailing into the Hormuz. Trump implemented the naval blockade. The naval blockade is in effect. 2 Chinese vessels turned around and went back home, staying within the Persian Gulf. Ladies and gentlemen, Trump has not only just put the Iranian regime in their place, Trump has also forced China, the CCP, to bend the knee, so to speak. He has put them in their place as well.
Like I said
China doesn't
earlier,
want any
propaganda
of
is
that. Even they're telling their vessels to turn back around.
Pressure Trump into
do not push that blockade.
Because they can't win.
More information.
That's the
here.
only way they can win is if they turn the American people against
China called Iran and told them to cry uncle.
And they're
now
trying
the Iranian oil blockade is probably the knockout punch.
You know what?
The Iranians are trying to outlast us.
What's sad is it's working with some. Look, and it's all right. It's all right to think something and then change your mind when you go back and you start actually looking and doing a little research. But you have to look into this stuff. You cannot take these people's word for it anymore. Your information is not at these people's, it's not best interest for them.
The longer the war goes on, the longer their regime can hold off a revolution. But their economy is experiencing a crippling depression.
That's right.
This blockade's costing the regime almost $400 million a day. That's $13 billion a month. Plus, the Iranians can only store oil for about 2 weeks before they have to start shutting off wells. The Iranians can't outlast us. The world's turning to us for energy. Over 120 empty oil tankers are on their way to the Gulf of America.
That's crazy.
Folks, we've been talking about this right now. The United States of America is the world's single largest oil producer, manufacturer in the entire world. In fact, we're ×2, the next 2 runner-ups. Just in, President Trump's doubters going into this entire situation have just been hit with a truth nuke.
American power over the high seas, and it would send a message to Beijing that they can do the same thing in the South China Sea. where another large chunk of global trade sails through. Oil has to flow freely and trade in dollars. Any threat to that is a threat to the pillars of American supremacy.
That is right.
Quarantining Iran hits the regime in the wallet and puts pressure on their biggest customer, China. A successful naval blockade sets the conditions for a full Iranian defeat. The writing's on the wall. Democrats are either playing dumb or they are dumb.
I don't understand how blockading the strait is going to somehow push the Iranians into opening it.
We've enforced naval blockades on the Iranians before, stopping their shipment of weapons to the Houthis, and a naval blockade of Venezuela. That's what made enemies into friends like that. The markets like the blockade. The Dow shut up 300 points today, and oil futures closed lower. You'd think the market would sell off after no peace deal over the weekend, but no. Smart money thinks the blockade will work. And so does top military.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
your business is crushing it. But unless they've got the right help desk software,
I'm almost done, y'all. You
Tickets
can
just
load
won't
it up now.
stop.
your agents
somebody could be mad about it. They could be upset about it. But the fact of the matter is, the fundamental reality of this dynamic with Iran, it is about preserving and maintaining the U.S. petrodollar. That is the truth. Let's be honest about it. China and BRICS, they have been threatening the U.S. global hegemony for a very long time,
Told you,
seeking to
that's exactly what
undermine
it's
that
about.
U.S. petrodollar, seeking to undermine the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. That is the stated objective, the explicit goal of BRICS, which China is sort of the leader of. China has been trying to buy and sell oil all over the world on the Chinese yuan. That's sort of their version of the dollar. And Trump is not letting that happen. China has been attempting to leverage the Iranian regime as a tool, as a weapon with which to destabilize the Middle East, keep the U.S. bogged down and distracted in the Middle East in a series of never-ending Middle Eastern wars. Meanwhile, they're buying and selling oil. Similarly, like I said, on the Chinese yuan from the Iranian regime, black market oil tankers. Enough is enough. Everything that Trump has done is aimed and targeted at China. Why is Trump concerned about Greenland? China. Why was Trump concerned about Cuba? China. Why is Trump concerned about Venezuela? China. Why is Trump concerned about fentanyl coming from China into Mexico, getting turned into fentanyl, then shipped up in the U.S.? China. Why is Trump concerned about the Panama Canal? China. Why is Trump concerned about opening up the Hormuz and shutting down the Iranian regime? China. You cannot understand
I don't know how long
all
it'll
of
take
these
for it to
dynamics
load.
unless
Hey,
you understand
Kate,
the
but I got
China
it loading right now,
dynamic.
so.
China has been attempting to subvert and undermine the U.S.
That is
superpower
wow. We
position.
busted
We are the
them.
global hegemon. China wants to knock us down and replace us, and Trump is not letting it happen.
What
It's
else
not.
they lying about?
Really, that's about as complex as it is. Let's talk about this blockade. Breaking news. The U.S. blockade of Iranian ports is set to immediately affect up to 983,000 tons of food shipments currently in transit to Iran.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hitting food imports.
And listen, so one website's one part of the internet is reporting that oil was down to $78, $79 a barrel, and one was reporting 95 to 97. So you don't know who to believe there.
Rapidly unless the U.S. fully grants exemptions. Russian grain supplies via the Caspian Sea, the most likely alternative route, are constrained.
And here's the thing. If they've got 47 years worth of oil on standby already, which we went through it this morning, they're claiming they got it, then why in the hell is there a shortage now? I'll tell you why. Because fucking Iran trapped all those boats inside the strait and wouldn't let them out. That's the only reason that there's a shortage. It has nothing to do with President Trump. Yes, he did go after Iran, but Iran's actions to close the strait down is why that there's a shortage on oil. But they have got everybody riled up at Trump for trying to defend them and take care of this nation. People got to quit being so fucking stupid and start looking into this shit themselves. They have to. If I can do it, by God, I know you can fucking do it.
By the landlocked body's shallow entry points and cannot match the Persian Gulf trade volumes. The Iranian regime, they know the clock is ticking. Okay. Right now, Iran has lost access. By nature of this blockade, the Iranian regime cannot sell oil out of the Hormuz anymore. We've blockaded it. Also, China cannot buy that oil. The Iranian regime, they've lost access to about $150 million per day of revenue. $150 million per day of revenue that they were otherwise making by selling oil through the Hormuz. Even throughout this war, they've been making that money. Trump shut him down. So their money is drying up, and perhaps they're not going to be able to import food, grain, food anymore. These are the conditions, brutal economic conditions, food and resource scarcity. These are the conditions that cause an already upset, disgruntled population, the Iranian people. They already don't.
Yeah, they've already been feeling this anyway. This is nothing new to the Iranian people, though. The regular citizens of Iran have been going through this. That's why they uprised to start with. That's why Trump was like, just hold on, help's coming.
Don't like the regime. If they get a little bit hungry and the money stops coming in,
I'm going to tell you, it's the greedy oil executives, and there needs to be a boycott on them. Everybody should not drive on Sunday. Hey, Daniel, one day of shutting it down would hurt their pockets, and that's what it takes, but people won't stay home.
what do you think they're going to do? They are going to rise up and take their country back. And the Iranian regime knows that, which is why they are panicking and begging Trump for a deal. You want to talk about the money the Iranian regime is losing?
A second round of talks could take place as early as this week between the United States and Iran. The issue of uranium enrichment remains a sticking point in these conversations, as Vice President J.D. Vance overnight told Fox's Bret Baier how Iran needs to get approval for any agreement.
The ball really is in their court. We've made clear where we're willing, again, to be accommodating, and we've made clear where we absolutely need to see the nuclear material come out of the country of Iran. I think the team that was there was unable to cut a deal, and they had to go back to Tehran, either from the supreme leader or somebody else, and actually get approval to the terms that we had set. Whether we ultimately get to a deal, I really think the ball is in the Iranian.
Hey, I do need everybody to go to my channel later on tonight. It's taking a while to load up. It's saying it's going to be about an hour. So once this video is loaded up, I need everybody to watch it again, please, and share it. That way it catches in the algorithm and gets out, because like we say, they've shared a lie to almost 1 million people. So we're already behind the gun.
In court, because we put a lot on the table.
How almost embarrassing is that? The Iranians, they sent a team of negotiators to talk to our vice president. Vice President J.D. Vance hopped on Air Force Two and flew 7,000 miles to Pakistan
to talk to somebody
to talk to this delegation of Iranian negotiators that weren't themselves even able to sign off on a final agreement. It's almost a little bit they said, okay, you know what? We've heard your offer, but we need to go home and talk to our boss. Then what was the point? It almost is a little bit disrespectful. And you have to imagine Trump is getting tired of the games. Tired of the games. This report here says the Iranian regime, by nature of this blockade, the Iranian regime is losing $400 million per day in revenue they were otherwise making. Wild.
Yeah, you're probably right on that. But that's what they need to do, though, smart mouth. Info Warriors, what's up, buddy?
In the GMC.
We have a statement from China. China this morning says the U.S. naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz is both dangerous and irresponsible. It's very curious because China sat there completely silent, not uttering a peep when the Iranian regime was blockading the Hormuz, when the Iranian regime was blowing up civilian vessels, of which they fired rockets, missiles, and bombs, hitting over 20. They hit the Iranian regime over the last 5 weeks. They have directly caused explosions in 20 civilian vessels now attempting to navigate the Hormuz. What did China have to say about that? Absolutely nothing. Now that President Trump has leveraged this U.S. naval blockade, keep in mind, the U.S. naval blockade, we're letting everybody through other than Iranian vessels carrying Iranian oil coming from Iranian ports. So our blockade is 1% of the Iranian regime's blockade, but China has a massive problem with it. China sat there silently saying absolutely nothing. You can see which side of this equation China is on, and President Trump is not having it. The blockade continues until a deal has been reached. And as I said during the intro, China, both China and the Iranian regime, they are melting down. They're looking to tap out. Their economies are imploding. In fact, both in China and Iran, they're worried about civil uprisings, oil shortages, energy shortages, economic turmoil. They are melting down. And all they can do is beg Trump to give them a way out. America first. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I suppose we have a little bit of a win, a little bit of a victory here for China on another note, because the nation of Spain has made a very bad decision here today. But you know what? Let me give you the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, it would seem as if the great nation of Spain, otherwise known as España, over there in Europe, has just made an absolutely fatal mistake. You see, Spain, the radically progressive leadership in Spain, they have effectively snubbed President Trump as well as the entirety of the United States of America, instead choosing to cozy up with China, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. However, today, we're going to break down why that is not such a good idea for Spain to make. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. We have a statement from the president of Spain earlier this morning, El Presidente.
Bro, so I can show you where like other countries are trying to blame all the faults that's going on in their country on Trump right now. And there was one dude, I can't remember his name, but I watched it. I can probably pull it back up. And he goes off on them, talking about you have to take it's funny.
Pedro Sanchez.
Let me try to.
He posted this on his official government page. Today, with President of China, Xi Jinping, I have confirmed that the bond between Spain and China emerges strengthened following this official trip. He met with the Chinese. In a world that is increasingly uncertain, Spain is betting on an EU, a European-China relationship based on trust, dialogue, and stability. We must continue advancing toward a multipolar order built from respect and pragmatism. A lot of people are using this term multipolar. What does that mean? Well, right now, ladies and gentlemen, we live in a unipolar world. What does that mean? Good question. A unipolar world means that there is one global superpower. There is a top dog. There is a global hegemon. There is one leader of the world. Who is that? It's the United States of America. Right now, there's an agenda to supplant, to subvert, to overthrow the unipolar world under which the United States of America is the global superpower, the hegemon, and transition the world into a multipolar world where you might have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 global superpowers all vying for leadership in a system built from respect and pragmatism, he says. So what is this Presidente of Spain saying? He's saying, we are working with the Chinese to subvert the Americans, to knock them out of their unipolar hegemonic position. We're going to undermine the U.S., and we're going to help build up China to transition the world out of unipolarity into multipolarity. That is what the Spanish Presidente is saying this morning. Big mistake. Big mistake. We're going to talk about why. Pedro Sanchez has urged China to take on a greater role of leadership around the world. During his visit to China, the far-left Spanish president called on the communist state of China to play a bigger part in global security and defense, emphasizing that a Europe-Chinese cooperation is essential for stability. He added that, quote, the world cannot be understood without China. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to put some things into perspective here.
Oh, shit.
At Edward Jones, we don't just know portfolios, we know people. Across generations.
Let me give you a little bit of a recent historical background on Spain under their series of radically progressive leaders. It was in 2006 that all of the NATO member nations, Spain is a member of NATO, so are we, the United States. It was in 2006 that all of the NATO member nations agreed to allocate 2% of their annual GDP on NATO defense spending. So that was 20 years ago. Can you guess how many years Spain has reached and achieved that 2% goal? The answer is one. 1 year out of the last 20, Spain has achieved that 2% NATO contribution goal. And that year was 2025. Last year, after President Trump flew over to Europe and pressured all of our NATO member nation allies to increase that contribution up from 2% all the way up to 5%. So to be very clear, after 20 years of contractual delinquency, Spain only ever achieved that 2% goal one time after that goal was forcibly increased to 5% by none other than President Trump. But check this out, because it gets even worse. Spain actually never even contributed 1% of their GDP to NATO or their defense spending until 2020, just 6 years ago. They went almost 2 decades without even contributing 1%, when the agreed upon value up until last year was 2%. So to say the least, Spain has been freeloading and free riding on American benevolence for just about 2 decades now. And now that President Trump has forced our European allies in NATO to bump that up from 2 to 5%, now Spain, the radically progressive leadership in Spain, has the absolute brazen audacity to spit in the face of Trump, cozying up with China, talking about subverting the unipolar world and replacing it with a multipolar world on which China is on equal global footing, equal superpower footing with the United States of America. Now Spain wants to help China do that. This is absolute insanity. The disrespect is unmatched. Now, President Trump had this to say about Spain 2 days ago.
Everybody was enthusiastic about it, Germany, everybody, and Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases, and that's all right. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it, but we don't have to. But they were unfriendly. And so I told him we don't want to. Spain has absolutely nothing that we need other than great people. They have great people, but they don't have great leadership. And as you know, they were the only country that in NATO would not agree to go up to 5%.
Yep.
I don't think they would have agreed to go up to anything. They wanted to keep it at 2%, and they don't pay the 2%. So we're going to cut off all trade with Spain. We don't want anything to do with Spain.
He says, we're going to cut off all trade to Spain. Spain has great people, love the Spanish people. Their leadership is radically progressive and insane. They've been delinquent on their NATO defense contributions for decades now, expecting a free American ride. We're cutting off all trade from Spain. Well, okay. Is that a big deal? Is Spain going to be concerned about that? Who cares? Should we care about that? Well, yes, we should. That is a big deal for Spain. And I want to tell you why. Ladies and gentlemen, this was posted yesterday afternoon by the U.S. Embassy in Madrid, Spain. The U.S. Embassy in Madrid, Spain posted this. The United States is the main investor in Spain, generating more than 333,000 jobs per year.
Holy shit.
Folks, Spain, by nature of the decisions from Spain's radically progressive and competent leadership,
Kate, I don't know if
Spain
I welcome June or
has
not.
just spit in the face of America,
I just don't remember.
losing not only their economic ties, their trade
so one
with the U.S.
kind of guy.
Quite a lot. It's about
And I'm over here
5%
trying
of
to do
their
this
global
and that,
trade.
this and that. So I'm sorry.
5% of Spain's exports go to the U.S. So they're losing 5%, but also 330,000 jobs we might pull out. It's over. Economic ties done. You want to do this? Spain is now publicly saying that they are looking to subvert the American world order and prop up China. Okay, you want to play that game, Spain? Trump can play that game.
Why would
better
you
than
do that?
And what Trump is going to do is cut you off and continue to put America first.
If America,
so ladies and gentlemen, there's our update coming out of
supports you
Spain.
more than any country in the
Now-
world, why would you turn your back on them?
we have a massive update.
I think Trump just
to
ain't
talk
letting them
about
get away with that shit
Representative,
anymore.
well, former Representative Eric Swalwell. Before we get into it, folks, if you would do
Just
me a
make-
favor, make
Mm,
sure
because I appreciate
to hit
each and
that
every one of
like
them.
button.
And like I
make
said,
sure to
after
subscribe
this
if you're new to the
stream's
show.
over,
Like,
in
subscribe.
about an hour, maybe a little longer, I need every one of you to go to this video I just posted about CNN Line and share it, please. It's the only way that we're going to get it out. Normally, I don't ask people to do that, but I'm asking you in this instance because they broadcasted to over right around 1 million people alive. China did not traverse the straits. They didn't. And I got proof of it. And we need to get it out. And it's up to us to do it.
Subscribe, follow. I appreciate all of it. Really helps a lot, more than you can ever know. Thank you very much for being here on this lovely Tuesday afternoon. We have some massive updates. Let's get to them.
Discover the ease of cushionless comfort, only at Gabion Summer Classics.
And you can believe, after I found that, I'm gonna dig into some more and just see what else I can find that they're lying about.
Ladies and gentlemen, right now, there is a scandal currently unfolding inside of the Democrat political establishment that, frankly, has the potential to rip their entire party, the Democrat Party, apart altogether. Now, by now,
What's up, Ready
I'm sure that
Randy?
many of you
Yeah,
have
no
heard
lie, yeah, most
that
definitely.
Democrat
This one is
congressional
point blank.
representative and
Hey, there's
California
no denying that they're lying. The proof is there. If you deny it after that, you're just stupid.
State gubernatorial aspirant Eric Swalwell has just found himself in the middle of a little bit of controversy, to say the least. But what if I told you that Eric Swalwell himself is really just the tip of the iceberg? Well, he is. And I will explain exactly why. I'll tell you what I mean by that. But now, first, Mr. Swalwell has just had some very serious allegations levied against him. And honestly, they seem pretty legitimate, which is why he has just resigned from really his entire political career. First off, take a look at this. Eric Swalwell issued a statement today saying that not only is he resigning or canceling his California state gubernatorial campaign, he's dropping out of the race, but also he is now stepping down from his current congressional seat in the House. So he's done. He's torched. Now, how did all of this start? Well, all of this started the other day when a semi-lewd, semi-raunchy video was released to the public. In this video, you see Democrat Representative Eric Swalwell. These are his legs in the blue jeans. It's about a 10-second long video. I'm not going to play it because it is a little bit lewd. Like I said, here's a screenshot, though. Eric Swalwell with a prostitute on top of him in a hotel room in what appears to be Washington, D.C., with a man on the right, another man on the bed with what appears to be, or who appears to be, Ruben Gallego. Who's Ruben Gallego? Allegedly, this is Ruben Gallego in the room with Swalwell with this D.C. prostitute. Ruben Gallego is a sitting Democrat senator. Swalwell is a House rep. Big deal. There's 400 whatever of those. Who cares? Sitting Democrat senator. Allegedly, this is Ruben Gallego having fun partying with this prostitute. Who's recording the video? Somebody was behind the camera. Well, I don't know. Maybe we're going to find out the next couple days. Now, investigators have been identifying who is this prostitute. It appears to be allegedly a Washington, D.C. prostitute named Summerlee Morton. This is a photo from her Instagram. They've identified her tattoo. This seems to be who she is, and you can get a better view of her in that video that I'm not showing you because it's a little bit raunchy. But this individual also has Summerlee Morton, who this prostitute allegedly is, also has public prostitute escorting profiles on famous escort websites where you might go to try to procure an escort in Washington, D.C. So we know that this woman here is an escort or a prostitute. And it seems to be a match. They matched her tattoos. They did it all. Seems to be her. Now, like I said, Senator Ruben Gallego seems to be the one on the far right of this image. Investigators are now putting pressure on him. Everybody's putting pressure on him. He spoke to the media this morning. Senator Ruben Gallego announces that he has text messages with Eric Swalwell that will likely be released when various other sexual assault accusers bring him to court. By the way, it's not just Swalwell with a prostitute or an escort in Washington, D.C. It is there are sexual assault allegations, throwing sexual assault allegations at him. Also, some other very, even more serious sexually related allegations at Eric Swalwell. The worst of worst, you can use your imagination. We'll talk about this here in a minute. What did Democrat Senator Gallego have to say about all this?
Have called you his best friend. You have never asked him about any of the rumors that have been swirling around Democratic politics of his inappropriate behavior?
I did. Look, we knew each other differently from everyone else. My family and his family were as close as it gets. Our kids were in baseball camp together. You know, we
Can y'all hear me? All right, cool. We back. I don't know what in the hell. It just shut down. It just kicked me out live. I think maybe because I'm trying to load too much stuff. I don't know. We'll see. Either that or
he knew that I just came off a very, very hard campaign for 2 years where they lied about me and my family for 2 years. He manipulated
right,
me
ready, Randy. He
to have
knew
the same sentiment that I was having back in the day and used as an opportunity to.
he was probably involved with him, bro.
How did you not know about the allegations? Of
There
this
you
when
go. How do
shared
you
his
not know?
presidential campaign? Wouldn't some of this have come up? Some of those allegations predated when he ran for office.
Again, this man led a double life. He lied to us. He lied to his family, lied to his constituents. Some of the most powerful people in this country. You know, even before he ran, he was trusted with some positions that normally we would never think someone like this could do if they're leading that double life. And again, I was manipulated. I was lied to. And
you wasn't lied to, boy. You sitting there lying to them people.
Messages you had with Eric Swalwell to prove.
Next, this bitch gonna be on the chopping block. He gonna be had transsexual fucking prostitutes. Nasty bastard. You can hear it in his voice. He's got that little fucking twang like PBR.
Your innocence here.
Crank up the motorcycle.
Anybody
fellas.
that asks, or anybody any legal proceedings that need it, well, get whatever they want. Without a doubt.
You release all your arguments.
Yeah, any legal proceedings, the ethics interviews, or if there's a subpoenas or anything else, legal proceedings, anything else. If you get sued, we'll release everything without.
I just want to understand.
So Gallego, Democrat Senator Gallego says he had no idea about this. He was deceived. He was manipulated. He was lied to.
Let me
by
tell you something. I would not leave my kids for shit. Look, shit gets tough sometimes. And when you with the same person for years and years and years, you just tough it out, right? All this running around with nasty hookers and all that shit, that's just a perversion. These people think that they're better than everybody else and they can get away with this shit. It's nasty. Hey, Kay.
His best friend, Eric Swalwell. They were having family dinners. They've known each other for decades. Their kids used to go to baseball practice together. But he just had no idea. Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be very awkward if this does.
Oh, no, these nasty Democrat
getting proven to be Democrat Senator.
That's probably him right there. That's probably the other dude right there. That's probably him. Nasty bastard. Look at them shoes. Let's see if we catch him with them Nikes on.
Gallego, and I'll tell you what, I'll give you my humble opinion here. It sure looks like him. That's the side of his face there. It sure looks like him. Time will tell. It looks like a deer caught in the headlights. I wonder if he knows that his career is about to go up in flames also. I would suspect. Now, like I said, there's been some allegations, very serious allegations made against former congressional representative Swalwell. Let's take a look. What do the victims of Swalwell have to say about all this?
From home updates to major repairs, Bauer, heavy duty guaranteed.
Commercials, though. I'll tell you that.
Where is my Old Spice? My cologne infused Old Spice. Go to Killer Old Spice.
DJ. The fact that he has now dropped out of the governor's race and resigned from Congress, is that justice in your view?
No, it's just the beginning. It's just the very beginning. And I know personally that we're not walking away from this fight.
For me, justice won't be until he can't ever.
I hate to say this, but if those girls were smart, they'd have waited till he got in power and then got his ass. They'd have got more.
Harm a woman ever again. And he has faced the consequences.
Wait a minute now. She was a prostitute. She was out here selling herself. She's just as responsible as he is.
I think in regards to the governor's race, he never should have.
I mean, women did he mess with? All I heard was the one prostitute. That's all I heard.
And for governor to begin with, knowing the kind of history and receipts that are out there. So that's a non-starter. And then in terms of Congress, I think he absolutely should have resigned. I think we just prevented another Congress.
Yep.
So in that sense, I think we have served justice for his future victims.
Wow.
That
No
won't
doubt.
exist anymore.
Absolutely, no doubt. So these women, and they're right, they're totally right about this. If it is true that Swalwell committed all these crimes, sexual assault, and even worse, don't make me say it. If all of that is true, and it seems likely at this point, then yeah, he should not only resign from Congress and shut down his gubernatorial campaign, he should go to jail. This guy belongs in a prison cell if the allegations are true, and that's what these women are saying. We want to see this through. It's not enough that he's resigned or stepped down.
Hey, Miss Gina,
he
I'm
needs to
gonna
go
tell
to
you the same
jail if
thing I
this stuff
told
is
everybody
true.
else.
Yeah, no doubt.
Here later on this evening, I need you to come back and check my channel for this video that I put out. It says CNN caught lying because they have promoted a lie today and pushed it to millions of people about China traversing the strait when they absolutely did not. We've got the proof that that never happened. And I need everybody to share that video. Normally, I don't ask people to do that. But once again, I'm going to ask you to help get the message out because stuff like that needs to be stopped. Misinformation and propaganda, when they know good and well what they're doing, is wrong.
100%. We had another report. This was a big press conference this morning.
Saying
A woman named Lana Drews, another victim.
Supposedly, there's another update right now. Thank you. I need you to watch it all the way through. I know it's probably going to be boring, but please do it. Watch it all the way through and then share it because it does help the algorithm like it and everything. That way we get it pushed. But anyways, let's watch this right here. So supposedly Iran's done bombed another one of our allies. So let's switch it up and see. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody helping with that. That pisses me off when they do that because, you know, they have got these people fueled into thinking that Trump don't know what the fuck he's doing. And he definitely is doing.
Great wherever you're watching from today. I'm filming this on
Hell
April
yeah, that's
14th.
what's up, Osmond.
It appears Iran has launched another attack, this time striking more targets in Iraq as we are technically supposed to be in a ceasefire. The bombs continue to fall.
Jack Rabbit.
And
Thank
we
you,
have
sir.
footage of a fighter jet engaging Iranian drones, as well as more proof that bombers are on the move.
I'm going to
Plus
tell you what
update
it's done.
released-
It's made me want to dig into more just to see what I can catch them lying in. You know what I mean? So it's on now. Once I get started on something, I can't stop. I'm just that way.
From the military about the United States blockade of the Strait of Hormuz for any ships leaving Iranian ports. So we got a lot to get into. I'm going to break it all down, show you all the footage. Before we get into it, as always, please make sure to like and subscribe. Totally free, huge boost. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Is the blockade working? Should we get rid of the ceasefire and start this war back up officially? Let me know in the comments below. Hit the notification bell. All notifications turned on. You won't miss a thing. And then Instagram, David_Hookstead, XD Hookstead. That's where you can find me. Let's get into it. So right here is footage of the IRGC launching drones. We're going to show the aftermath and the actual strike into Kurdistan. The Kurds, of course, aligned with the United States. They were hit today with a massive Shahed drone attack. Right here, you see the aftermath, the smoke in the air after the drones hit a person. Damage there. Again, this is during the ceasefire. Iran and the IRGC still firing. Footage of the drone coming in. Right there, massive explosion. Let's watch that again. So this is in Kurdistan. Again, ceasefire means nobody's supposed to be shooting. Negotiations, they're trying to start those back up. Clearly, the Iranians are not listening. The IRGC is essentially speaking out of both sides of its mouth, claiming, oh, we want to negotiate with the U.S. But what have I said from the start? They have no intention of stopping shooting. Just yesterday, I made a video. They launched a bunch of drones into Bahrain. Now they're launching them into U.S.-friendly locations in Iraq. And it goes to show this ceasefire is far, far from legitimate. And then right here, a French Mirage 2000 fighter jet shoots down an Iranian Shahed drone with an air-to-air missile over northern Iraq. Right there. Boom. Direct impact. And then you can see
It wouldn't surprise me, bro. I got accused of, Crazy Carl accused me of getting his kids taken away and giving back to their mom. He had to get outside the house today, and it was all Unc's fault.
Fighter jet peel off right there. Let's give it one more quick look.
Oh,
I mean, that is, look at the impact, just right to it. And then right here, you see the missile away, and then impact.
I made friends with somebody.
You can hear the loud boom. So you're going to see the missile trail right there, missile away, missile in the air, and then impact right there. Now, as this is going on, I'm going to bring this up. We have more reports of mysterious explosions erupting in Iran. Nobody knowing the cause, nobody knowing what is going on. We had some of these earlier today that I talked about in the video this morning. Now we have more of them. Remember, before the war started, you had all these gas leak explosions in Iran. I was very clear that I thought those were clandestine and covert sabotage operations. Then the war started, and you had actual bombs falling. Now in the ceasefire, the mysterious explosions continue in Iran, with Shin reporting 3 blasts heard from the Parshin military complex side of eastern Tehran. So this is reporting we have 3 blasts. And then right here, an update was followed saying that there were 5 blasts in total, 5 unexplained blasts. It's unclear if these blasts were in the same location, general vicinity of each other, but they were all in Tehran. So one instance, we had 3 unknown boom, boom, boom. Then we had 5 back-to-back explosions, one after another, as it appears sabotage operations in Iran are certainly still underway. Now, we've been talking about the bombers. We've been talking about the B-52s and all of that. What you see here, this comes from Defense Geek, says Judgment Day is coming, ? Last week, we heard rumors that additional U.S. bombers might be moving to the United Kingdom, partly due to engineering issues with a couple of the bombers already there. Today, it looks like we have our movement with B-52, call sign Scout 93, being towed. These are just the ones with the transponder on. We do not know about ones without transponder on. So B-52 bombers are on the move from the United States of America. They're being towed, as they call it, by the refueling tankers over the Atlantic, where they staged then in the United Kingdom. They then conduct their bombing runs from the United Kingdom being refueled
Oh, bro,
there
he
and back.
answered the
So you got
phone.
KC-135 refuelers.
He finally answered the phone and he fucking cussed me out. He called me the son of Satan and all kinds of shit. It's all my fault. I say, hey, bitch, did I tell you to post all that weird shit on fucking YouTube? Or was that you? Fuck you. Fuck you, you son of Satan, you son of a bitch.
In the air, and we have B-52 bombers in the air believed to be headed for the United Kingdom as this war could flip back
It's
on
hilarious.
at literally any given moment. So we got a lot more updates. Stick with me here. While we have bombers on the move, we also have, hold on one second, I'm going to also have this hour a P-8 Poseidon. That is a Navy SEALs intelligence spy plane, sub hunter, can do a lot of different things, and an MQ-4C Triton drone. They are both in the Persian Gulf, spying on Iran as we have the blockade.
Hey, something else,
the
too.
U.S.
Something else. China, college, either a student or professor from Indiana that got caught sneaking Ebola over here. Believe it or not, in women's underwear. I was like, what in the hell? They came suspicious when they realized what website he had ordered it from and had it shipped in women's underwear. They're trying to get us with Ebola.
On the Strait of Hormuz. Keep in mind, the blockade only applies to the ships that are visiting Iranian ports. It does not apply to anyone visiting Qatar, Bahrain, our allies. But if a ship goes to an Iranian port, loads up, we are going to stop that ship. We are not going to let that ship get to the open ocean. And we have made it clear we are even willing to board those ships. Now, on that note, U.S. Central Command releasing a statement on the blockade, saying more than 10,000 U.S. sailors, Marines, and airmen, along with over a dozen warships and dozens of aircraft, are executing the mission to blockade ships entering and departing Iranian ports. During the first 24 hours, no ships made it.
All I said, well, you was, fucking her. Could I take the damn John boat and go sheephead fishing? All of a sudden, I'm a bad guy. I just want to go fishing, and you're trying to fuck. I'm trying to go fishing, but I'm the terrible one. What the fuck is going on?
Past the U.S. blockade, and 6 merchant vessels complied with the direction from U.S. forces to turn around and re-enter an Iranian port on the Gulf of Oman. The blockade is being enforced impartially against all vessels of all nations entering or departing Iranian ports and coastal areas, including all Iranian ports on the Arabian Gulf, and Gulf of Oman. U.S. forces are supporting freedom of navigation for vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz from non-Iranian ports. So they turned 6 ships around. 6 ships attempted to run through the U.S. blockade. The U.S. Navy stopped them. They turned around and went back to Iranian ports. Now, right here, I'm going to put this up on the screen.
I'm just trying to.
So remember, there was a waiver for Iranian oil that was already at sea when the war started. That waiver is going to expire, and the Trump administration is not going to let that continue. Why is that? Some estimates say the Iranian government only has enough resources to run the government for 30 to 45 days. So we are going to choke point all their oil, all their money, and see maybe if we can bring this regime crashing down without having to drop more bombs. Now, if we have to drop more bombs, we will drop more bombs. But this is economic warfare, if you will. We are
no better man
them
to do it than
economically. We are
somebody
not
who-
letting them get their money in.
See, that's the difference between Trump and a lot of these other presidents. He understands economics. One thing Trump understands is money, and he knows how to make it, and he knows how to cut somebody off. And you're right, fucktard, my crazy cousin. It is the art of the deal.
They're not letting them get their oil out. So the blockade is underway. Now, once this waiver expires on April 19th at midnight, 12:01 a.m. Eastern on April 19th, the Iranians will be completely cut off from the world. Now, I do want to show you this as well. This is some high resolution satellite imagery shows the on the landing strip we built for the rescue operation for the F-15 weapons officer.
I told you.
Likely was going to use
Let's
the
just hope
SOI.
it keeps
I don't
pushing
know
in the
if
right
that's speculation
direction.
on my part. Obviously, we can't use it now. You can see the landing strip right here, that where the damage from the C-130s that got stuck and then were subsequently blown up as we evacuated with the weapon.
Yeah, and the IRGC is trying to claim that they did that from the air or some shit. I was like, come on now. And you can tell that that shit was blown up.
Weapons officer. So that is a look at the damage.
Trying to
and
say
then
that
it
it
also
crashed.
appears that the runways have been cratered. You can see the holes in the runways right there. So this is before right there. This thing is now no longer operational and will not be used for any missions going forward inside of Iran. And then lastly, the head of Israel's Mossad says, even after the ceasefire, we will work to overthrow the Iranian regime. So Israel making it clear, even if the United States stops its war with Iran, the Israelis have no intention of stopping whatsoever. Now, that is the update. As of this update, I will likely be live streaming tonight. We got a lot of things to cover. Like I said, Iran has launched another devastating
Shout out
attack.
to you too, Pimp,
Another
for
attack
fucking turning me
during
on
the
to this guy.
ceasefire.
So far, from me watching, and trying to figure out what the hell's going on, this dude's been more straightforward and to the point. He ain't been beating around the bush and shit.
Hitting U.S. aligned forces in Iraq. More mysterious explosions ripping through Iran at this hour. So we got a lot to get into. We will likely be doing the live stream, so come check that out. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all again when we have more updates.
Yeah, that dude right there is pretty awesome for sure. He's more straight to the fucking point.
Of Eric Swalwell, the deranged, the perverse, and the unhinged Democrat, Eric Swalwell. She says he did something very bad to me. He choked me. While he was choking me, I lost consciousness, and I thought that I died. I did not consent to any sexual activity. I would never have engaged in a consensual encounter, sexual encounter with Eric Swalwell. So when I talked about, even worse allegations, now we're seeing those allegations come out. It's not just sexual assault. It's the worst of the worst. He's choking women until they pass out and then doing what he wants. Absolutely unhinged. Now, something I want to share with you folks. FBI Director Kash Patel
So was she a
posted this
prostitute or
yesterday.
not, bro? Like, y'all are confusing me with that one. I could have swore they was calling her a prostitute, but they might have been doing that to try to cover up the
Good morning.
allegations.
As all of these allegations are coming out, the women, the victims, are speaking up. FBI Director Kash Patel chimes in. He said, Eric Swalwell has maintained that none of the allegations against him are true. And now that he's resigned, we would welcome him to sit down with the FBI and share any information that he has. We also, at the FBI, encourage and welcome any person with relevant information to any of these matters to speak with us. The door is open to all. Call the 1-800-CALL-FBI. Now, why is Kash Patel doing this? Ladies and gentlemen, these victims of Swalwell, perhaps that prostitute, that escort, perhaps whoever was behind the camera filming that footage in the hotel room, featuring what appeared to be Gallego, Democrat, Senator Gallego, and Swalwell himself, all of these people, they have names. They've got information. They've got video footage, perhaps. They've got
Mama, the
recordings.
first start of something like that is them sending a camera crew out to film because they want to see what they can get as far as they can sell to the public. I pray everything goes right. I pray. The right people get a hold of him. And I've said that for a long time. The right people get a hold of Payday. He is out of here. He's got that character and he's just, yeah.
They've got
He's got that aura about
if you are contracting a
Cut out little
prostitute, I would
Payday.
imagine you
Go,
got to
buddy,
pay him
go.
something. Who knows?
Don't
Maybe there's
fucking
bank
stop.
statements. Maybe there's
Put your
something.
foot on
The
the
FBI
gas
is saying,
and
hey,
get what you
to
can get.
anybody that knows anything, come give it to us. The Democrat establishment
Uncle
is
be out
absolutely
behind the fucking
melting
place.
down about all of this. Like I
Hey
said,
there, big.
Swalwell
Payday would be performing in the fucking the garden somewhere. Unc be out in the back in the dumpster looking for something to eat. Payday be in there rapping. He'll walk right past me. He's like, "Ooh, who's that old man?"
Himself.
I'd be like,
He's the tip of the
"Bird,
iceberg. This
you got a
iceberg
quarter?"
goes much deeper. Who else was involved? Well, ladies and gentlemen, reminder that all of this information, as we now know, all of this information about
I
Eric
want to see all of them
Swalwell's
make it, man.
various sexual deviancies and sexual crimes, all of this was well known inside of the Democrat establishment for years.
Come on, man. Let's get back to the
But it
war.
was covered up. It was covered up by the Democrat establishment. For all of this information
They're
to
all
come out
fucking
now,
perverts.
Swalwell, you have to assume, must have pissed off the wrong person inside of the Democrat establishment. They decided to release all of it and throw him under the bus. But the fact of the matter remains, the Democrat establishment, his colleagues, his campaign staffers, etc., they knew about this.
They
They
all
covered
knew,
it up, and now they are absolutely panicking that now the victims and the women and the footage and all of this is going to start coming up, and who knows who's going to get nailed to the wall next. Like I said, Swalwell himself is the tip of the iceberg. We might see Democrat Senator Gallego get caught up in a concrete way. He might be kicked to the curb. Who else? Because keep in mind, it's not just a crime to engage in this type of sexually deranged behavior. It's also a crime to
saying shout out to you for fucking hooking me up with that dude, man, because that dude's straight the fuck up. I like that dude. He's to the point, and he just
it up. Once the emails start leaking and the text messages start leaking, who's involved? How many people knew? If they knew, why did they not say anything? The Democrat establishment is panicking. This has the capacity, this scandal here has the capacity to implode the entire Democrat political apparatus. And you know what? Good. America first. So, ladies and gentlemen, there is our Swalwell update. Like I said, everybody's talking about the surface level stuff here. This goes deep. This is institutional Democrat rot, is what this is. It is so funny because Swalwell, for a long time, he's been saying, believe all women. We need to believe. He was one of those guys. Hashtag believe all women. He was going hard on Trump, calling Trump an Epstein, all types of terrible stuff. Disgusting rhetoric.
Seems like.
Well. With every finger you point at somebody else, 3 fingers are pointing back at you. And that seems to be the case with Swalwell, maybe even more fingers than that. Well. Thou shalt not toss stones if you live inside of a glass house. And it seems like he was living inside of a glass house, to say the least. Now, gentlemen, we have another massive news update that I think all of you are going to like, and I think you're going to appreciate this. Some very good news for you. Do me a favor, before we get to it, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. You are going to like this next story. I think we're ready to get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, remember when the infamous Judge Boasberg, the Obama-appointed radically progressive federal...
What the hell? Put it on pause for a second. They're trying to get our fucking internet. They're trying to get our internet. Hell yeah.
Federal judge attempted to tell President Trump that Trump wasn't allowed to conduct deportation flights. Well, folks, today, Judge Boasberg just got some very bad news. In fact, do me a favor and take a look at this. Breaking news as of this morning, a federal appeals court has just ordered Judge Boasberg to end his contempt investigation of the Trump administration over deportation flights. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Not only will the deportation flights continue, but now they're actually going to ramp up. Not only will the deportations continue, but now they will be ramping up, as they have been, mind you. Seriously.
Well, you know about that. I have to finish that later. That might be what's affecting that. Yeah, shout out to everybody that follows me on Instagram. Now I'm able to monetize on there too. That's fucking awesome.
As we continue into the great year of 2026, the rate at which deportations have been taking place has actually been increasing every day exponentially, not slowing down. And now they're going to keep on will. But beyond the actual deportations themselves, check this out. Today, the Cato Institute released an absolutely bombshell report in which the Cato Institute hyper-analyzed the effects thus far of President Trump's entire immigration, or rather anti-immigration agenda. And I have a feeling that all of you are going to enjoy all of this new insight, this new information that has just come out today. Ladies and gentlemen, why don't we work through some of this? Take a look at this. Folks, since stepping back into the White House in January of 2025, according to Cato Institute data that just got released today, President Trump has seen legal border entries plummet by over 99.9%. That's on top of the 99% reduction in illegal border crossings. Now we have the proof legal border crossings have plummeted. Look at that. It just fell off a damn cliff. 99.9% reduction in legal border crossings. What's more information coming out. During university enrollment season in the year of 2025, so summer of 2025, the issuance rate of student visas for foreign international students decreased by 40% due to a wide array of Trump administration policies. Trump has been cracking down on student visas being given to foreign international students. Trump has said American universities, American education should be for American students first. This is exactly what we love to see, a 40% reduction in just 1 year. And you know it's going to keep on going down. What's more, President Trump's new $100,000 H-1B visa application fee has caused a 90% reduction in new H-1B visa applications, per the Cato Institute's Director of Immigration Studies. He said this very morning. Now, beyond this 90% reduction in new H-1B visa applications, we have also seen in the last year a 25%.
And I know that sounds like a shit ton of money, right? $100,000 for the H-1B, but we don't need people over here that cannot afford to take care of themselves. If you want to come over here, you need to be able to financially support yourself. And if you don't have the money, you need to stay where you're at. If you're just a drag on society, we already got them type of people here as it is. The last thing we need is a bunch of foreigners that doesn't, provide anything.
Reduction in total H-1B visas, in H-1B visa workers currently inside of the country. Now you might say, well, it should be 100% increase. Well, sometimes these things take time. As long as you're moving in the right direction, 90% reduction in new applications and a 25% reduction in current H-1B workers. Gone. They're out of the country. Folks, this is exactly what we need to do.
It's my internet on my phone. Let me cut the internet off. As soon as I picked my phone up, it started doing that buffering stuff.
Take a look at this.
Maybe not.
Well, let me give you a little bit of a recap here because I put together a bullet point list. Just to be clear, since President Trump stepped back into the White House, H-1B visas are down 25% in total, with the 90% reduction in new applications.
Yeah, I've heard of them. I ain't never used one, but
legal immigration along our southern border has decreased by 9%. Similarly, the admittance rate for new asylum seekers has decreased by 99.9%. Ladies and gentlemen, and that's on top of all of the deportations. We had over 3 million between forced deportations and self to this country in 2025. And that number, the rate at which that's happening, is going up in 2026. Remember all that funding that got put on the table in accordance with the One Big Beautiful Bill, hired thousands of more ICE agents, CBP, DHS officers. Guess what? The deportations are happening even more rapidly. Here's what is so insane about all of this information that I just shared with you coming out of this Cato Institution report. As some of you might know, the Cato Institute is a very well-known libertarian think tank based out of Washington, D.C., that is infamously well-known for being pro-immigration and infamously against all of President Trump's border security immigration policies. So what this means is that all of this absolutely stellar immigration information that we've just gotten done going through, well, this isn't coming from some pro-Trump MAGA organization. No, to the contrary, the Cato Institute, they're pretty much reporting all of these immigration updates in the most
What's up, Drew?
lamenting, begrudging way possible. They're not happy about any of this. We are. They're not. But they're reporting.
I have to pause this here and let this shit to this shit catch.
Reporting it nonetheless. But now, folks, that's not the end of today's good news, because I've got something else I want to share with you. Folks, you are going to love this. We got a report today coming from Bloomberg saying this. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says an executive order mandating banks to collect citizenship information from their customers is in process, according to news outlet Semaphore. Folks, and we've actually heard this from Scott Bessent himself. We know this is the case. The Trump administration right now is working on a new executive order to cut off illegal aliens from using banks inside of the United States. If you want to open up a bank account in the USA, you need to provide like legitimate government issued documentation to have a bank account. Thank God for that. Now, first off, ladies and gentlemen, let's get some information on the board here. Currently, it is estimated that there's right around 10 million illegal aliens inside of this country right now with U.S. bank accounts. 10 million illegal aliens in the country that currently have U.S. bank accounts. And generally speaking, guess what? These illegal aliens are living in what? In blue states, sanctuary states. And so, needless to say, yes, of course, all of these illegal aliens should be debanked. They should be kicked out of this country. Between you and me, I personally think that they should have all of their assets seized by the federal government.
I agree
We have
with
made
that.
it perfectly clear. You are not welcome here. You need to leave. We're going to cut them off their banks. If they don't leave on their own and self-deport, well, guess what? We are going to deport you by force, and we're going to seize all of your assets. It'll go to the federal pocketbook. That's my humble opinion. I hope we see things go that way. Now, folks, I actually have yet another absolutely stellar, massive update pertaining to all of this immigration news that I think all of you are going to love. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this. We get a report earlier today. Breaking. Federal court has now cleared the path for the Department of Justice to seize state voter rolls. This has been a big battle for a very long time between the Trump DOJ and all of these radically progressive blue states. They haven't wanted to turn over their voter rolls. Well, the federal court has now cleared the path for this to actually happen. The battle for election transparency just hit a fever pitch. Yesterday, a federal judge handed the Department of Justice a massive procedural victory in United States versus Hobbs, despite Washington State's desperate attempt to dismiss the case on technicalities. The court ruled that the DOJ's lawsuit to force the surrender of the full unredacted voter registration rolls is going to move forward. Now, it's not done yet, but we're moving forward. We've got a green light. We're keeping on here. What's currently at stake? The DOJ is invoking the Civil Rights Act of 1960 to demand access to every voter's full legal name, date of birth, partial social security numbers, presumably the final four, and residential history. The collision course. Washington state officials in the great state of Washington, radically progressive state of Washington, well, those officials are digging in, claiming state privacy laws shield this type of sensitive voter data from federal reach. But the DOJ's position is perfectly clear. Federal oversight trumps, no pun intended, state level secrecy when it comes to verifying the integrity of the rolls. Very simple. Federal elections, you need to play by federal rules. That's it. It's obvious, of course. This isn't just about Washington state. This is one of the 30 simultaneous legal battles the administration is waging across the country. Folks, if the DOJ can score a victory in any one of these 30 delinquent blue states, and some of them aren't blue, there's some red states pushing back on this also, to be fair. But if the DOJ can score victory against any single one of these 30 delinquent states trying to protect their voter rolls from federal oversight, then they effectively win the battle for all of them. All we need is one victory to win all of these legal battles. Massive. The goal?
Your business is crushing it. But unless they've got the right help desk software.
Oh, man.
You would think that they would want a show ID. You would think that there would be
a massive national audit to cross-reference state rolls with federal citizenship databases, ensuring that only legal citizens are casting ballots in the 2026 midterms and beyond, of course. Massive. The state of Washington now has until May 12th, that's about a month from now, to respond. As the November elections loom, the fight over who controls the data and who verifies the voters is the most consequential legal showdown in the country. The era of blue states saying, "Trust us," is over. The era of "prove it" is now upon us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put a bow on top of this here. If the DOJ scores a concrete, definitive victory here, and all it would take is one in one state, Washington could be another one. We're making progress in Washington. That would have rippling effects across the entire country. All of them would have to relinquish their voter rolls to to some sort of federal oversight body where they would cross-reference and check, okay, the people you say are voting are in fact legal citizen voters. All right, you're good or you're not good. Okay, you got to clean out the rolls. Folks, this decision, this legal battle right now that it seems like, I don't want to jinx it, seems like we are winning, this will have massive, nationally sweeping impacts in midterms and beyond the 2028 election, et cetera, going to the future here. The Democrats, they are on the cusp of losing everything here. And they know it. And you know what? Good. I hope they do. Because what we need to do is shut down all of this blue state-backed voter fraud, allowing dead people and illegal aliens and whoever else to vote in our federal elections. Shut it down. That is what it's going to take if we truly want to put America first. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I told you that today, I need to take a deep breath. I told you that today we had one hell of a show. Massive topics, big stories, a lot of good news, Trump and China are bending the knee. Spain has made a terrible mistake. Massive immigration victories, all of it. Seems like the Democrat establishment might be imploding because of this Swalwell dynamic. Good. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would allow me, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these super chats and some of these Rumble rants. But you know what? Before we do, we're going to do something crazy because I love Rumble. We're going to do it obligatorily. We're going to do it today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your patience. Thank you all. If you're new, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe.
You should have to show
today, we're going to do a little shout out for the Rumble wallet before we get to our super chats. Let me pull this up here. Then we have some great super chats to take a look at. I'll see what you folks have to say about it. We've got the super chat hat on. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, here is a little inside scoop right over there that many creators are talking about behind the scenes. It's actually one of the reasons why I personally love to use Rumble.
Hookstead to be live here.
They
in
made
about
a way. Rumble made a
9
way to
minutes,
super
and then when
chat
he's
and
done,
donate
we'll
to
watch him,
creators
'cause he's more
so that we
informative
get
than the
paid
rest of them.
immediately and without any fees whatsoever. YouTube and Twitch, you see, they take up to 50% of the revenue every time you tip a creator, one of your favorite broadcasters. This method, the Rumble wallet, takes none. Absolutely zero. That's right. The platform itself takes zero fees, meaning I keep 100% of it. You can super chat or donate in this fashion with Bitcoin, Tether USD, and also Tether Gold stable coins. These are various cryptocurrencies if you use those. The tip will show up at the top of the Rumble chat. Of course, I'll say thank you for it. All you have to do is download the Rumble wallet on the App Store. If you've got an iPhone or an Android, doesn't matter. I have it on my iPhone. And then you can start sending these Rumble wallet donations or tips to your favorite creators, your favorite broadcasters, of which I am number one, of course, right? Okay. You can also alternatively download the Rumble wallet at wallet.rumble.com. And of course, like I said, you can download it on your smartphone app store. And I want to say, what an amazing way to sort of cut out the middleman, YouTube, Twitch, whatever, so that you can really donate directly to your favorite broadcaster. Shout out Rumble, of course, for making this very innovative, frankly, disruptive technology. We love Rumble, so we're doing the plug today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for bearing with me. Hey, I love Rumble. I'm going to do it sometimes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, with that out of the way,
get Zaxby's fingers and wings and lemon pepper, garlic parm, and Nashville hot. Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's.
How do I earn more money on my money?
He absolutely hates it.
Whoa.
Our little ad break. We don't do a whole lot of them. What we're going to do now is pull up these super chats. And thank you all for bearing with me. I appreciate it, man. Today was one hell of a show. A lot of news. Now, I'm going to get these pulled up. Now, folks, before I do the super chats, can I make a little bit of announcement? I think I'm going to put this on Twitter or X. I'm going to put this on my YouTube post page. I think I've decided concretely that what I want to do going forward is bump back the daily broadcasts to 3 p.m. Eastern. That's noon Western. That's the time we went live today. We used to do 2 p.m. Eastern. Now I think permanently I want to do 3 p.m. Eastern every single day. And the reason, there's actually a couple reasons. One, if I've got an extra half hour, 45 minutes, extra hour to put together the show, I feel like the shows are like way better. I feel like any time I have an extra hour to put together the broadcast, it's just like way better. More prep, better show. So that's the first thing. Also, pretty soon here, our kids are going to start doing school stuff, and I need to, in the mornings, pick them up, drop them off. So I need a little bit of extra like real life personal time. So I'm going to bump everything back about an hour, 1 hour exactly, to 3 p.m. Eastern. And I think it's going to be better. I think the shows are going to be better. I've got more prep time. So that's kind of the little announcement here. But, and I'll post that out everywhere so you guys can see that so you don't forget about it. But man, we have a lot of, so you guys are out of your mind today. We got a lot of super chats and Rumble rants here. Thank you very much. Let me pull these up. To kick off today's broadcast, a super chat from an individual named Renbro. He says, enough talks for stalling. Iran has been doing this for 47 years. Love the show, brother. I imagine that this, if we're meeting in the next 2 days, this will probably be the final one. In fact, I think because Trump is doing it himself, this will be the final one. That's my intuition. We'll see. We'll see. Lich Gore, he says, I see him doing a meeting in Greece. They helped us out during the war and a non-Muslim country. Could be. Who knows? Could be. Maybe Greece. Could be the case. Could be. We have a massive Rumble rant using the Rumble wallet from Bulky. He says, thank you, Matt. Also, maybe clip that info on the decrease in immigration for a short. I want to send that to some folks. Take care, dude. That my whole immigration spiel.
Who said that? I will. Who said that?
Because,
because let me tell you something. Everyone on my own know got a prison ID. That's as good as the state ID. It's the same thing. I got one.
It feels like so many commentators and podcasters, it's almost like they go out of their way to ignore the good news. There is a lot of good news. A lot of great work is getting done. It's getting accomplished, but it's easier and maybe more lucrative, I don't know, to get up here on the podcast every day and talk about all the bad news. There's a lot of good news. It's just most people are seeming to ignore it or it's missing by them. So here on this show, I try to bring up the good news every single day. There is a lot of good news. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Joe Brogan says the American empire is about to grow bigly. I think so. Long live the global American empire. You know, can I make a joke here? Here's what I want. Here's my humble opinion. Let me know if you agree, yes or no. I want a republic in the sheets, but an empire in the streets. Republic in the sheets, empire in the streets. What does that mean? I want the republic here at home. This is the American Republic domestically, but abroad we kind of have a global empire. We've got military bases everywhere. We are patrolling global international waters, making sure that hostile nations aren't interfering with global maritime commerce. So republic in the sheets, empire in the streets. That seems to be kind of what it is. Okay. All right. That's how it is. Thank you very much. Now we have a super chat here. We have a super chat here from Hexorcist. He says, China is begging for a deal because Russian oil ports have been getting pounded in the last few days by Ukrainian drones. China's fuel sources are being cut off. You know, I will tell you something astounding. You would expect that all of these European NATO countries, that they would be totally on board with President Trump trying to shut down the Iranian regime. Why? Because the Iranian regime is one of Russia's biggest partners. The Iranian regime has sold Russia thousands of these Shahed suicide drones. Russia's been using Iranian suicide drones against the Ukrainians. And so it's like, this is, I hate to be rude. I hate to be rude because my wife is European. I love Europeans. No disrespect to all of the very smart Europeans. But so many of these Europeans are so stupid, they cannot understand that shutting down the Iranian regime is also helping to shut down Russia. It's like, if you want Ukraine to win, wouldn't you want to weaken or put down altogether Russia's biggest ally, which is it's like they can't think 2 steps ahead. It really is just shocking. It's shocking. So no disrespect to the smart Europeans. I love the smart Europeans. I married one of them. But man, so many of them, they just cannot think 2 steps ahead. It's astounding. Okay, thank you very much, Hexorcist. Carrie, he says, when the Chinese went through the strait, they marked a safe pass. U.S. Army retired mine dog handler. Thank you very much, Carrie. Of course, they do have those. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. They've been going north of that island. You've seen it on the map. Thank you very much, Carrie. Paul Favada, he says, Trump has already moved past the Hormuz. He signed a major deal with Indonesia on Strait of Malacca. 90% of China traffic, check it out. I know. So I was reading about that last night and this morning. That is true. Of course, China is very unhappy about that. That is a different, but also simultaneous dynamic. Trump is boxing them we can add the Indonesian deal to the long list of maneuvers Trump has executed here in the last 14 months to screw over China.
Yeah.
Good.
They try to do it.
Thank you very much, Paul. You're right. You're right about that. Thank you very much. Renbro says, halt all trade with Spain. Seems like that's about to be happening. Thank you very much. Renbro says, waiting for women to come forward about Adam Schiff. Well, how can I say this? This is my personal speculation. Adam Schiff probably doesn't have any female victims. Adam Schiff, if I had to take a guess, and of course I don't know, this is my personal speculation, I would suspect that Adam Schiff has a collective of like 14-year-old boys who are his victims. That's my personal speculation. I've got no proof of that at all whatsoever, but that would be my guess. So I wouldn't hold your breath to see any women going forward with Adam Schiff. Now, William Barnes, he says, jail, no wood chip or feet first. Thank you very much, William Barnes. Lich Gore says, you cannot hide from the light. The arrests begin. I've been telling you, 2026 is going to be a big year. I'm telling you, and we're only 4 months into it. We are picking up speed. Momentum here is building. Okay. Thank you very much. It's going to be a big year. We've been saying that.
Yes.
Darla Miller says, I love your show. Matt Gallego is pronounced Gallego. Is this a Spanish thing? Listen, I'm just a humble white boy from out west. I don't know how to speak all these Espanol, Spanish nonsense, this gibby gabby. No blah blah, no blah blah. I speak English and I speak it how I speak it. I'm just a humble white boy from out west. Okay, I don't know how to say it. You got to bear with me sometimes. Thank you very much. Gallego. What about Gallego? Thank you very much. Thank you, Darla. Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Renbro says, this is what I voted for every day. Another reason. Thank you. We have RPM Live Agency says, Matt, I thank you for being so honest and informative to your listeners. You know, the biggest courtesy I can give you folks is just the respect of telling it how it is and being honest and giving you the real news. That's the most I can do for you guys, and I'm very fortunate you folks keep coming back. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. We have a super chat here from Old Concrete Lizard. He says, thank you, Matt. We all love you, even the trolls, the liberals, and the spammers, or they wouldn't be here with us. Makes you wonder if they're getting paid. You think they're getting paid for it? I don't know. Maybe they do it for free. Maybe they're in here melting down, having libtard meltdowns for free. I hope not. I hope somebody's paying them. Maybe they're getting paid by Soros. I don't know.
All right,
Maybe
let's
the
go check out
CCP.
Hookstead. I think
You know what occurred to me? I was actually having dinner with my lovely wife yesterday evening, and I looked up. I had a fork in my mouth. I looked up and I turned to my wife and I said, sweetheart, I'm probably banned from China, aren't I? She said, yeah, you probably are. Do you think that I'm banned from China? If I bought a plane ticket to Beijing and I touched down in a Beijing airport, they would probably apprehend and detain me and either throw my white American ass into a prison cell or send me back home to the U.S., one of the two. They probably would not want to have me there. I'm like a national threat to them at this point. At this point, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now I want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Crowd Patriot USA, another one, says, Matt, please consider contacting Barbara Boyd and Susan Kokinda with Promethean Action. I've got a lot of shout outs about this Promethean Action thing. I'll tell you what, I'm doing my own thing. In fact, yesterday morning, I'm not going to say who, not going to say what. Yesterday morning, I got a very curious message in my inbox on Twitter from somebody who I never thought I would receive a message from, a very, very big show. A very big show.
We help individuals and organizations better lead and manage change, and now we're excited to offer the
Invited me on yesterday morning. I never thought that I would get this message from this person yesterday morning. And you know me. I'm not doing anything with anybody, Promethean Action or otherwise. I had to tell him respectfully, I'm going to decline the offer for now. Respectfully, I've got a goal. I want to get to 1 million first, 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And then once I have 1 million, maybe I'll change my mind and start doing collaborations here, going on mainstream media, podcasts. But I had to say respectfully, I appreciate the offer. I'm a big fan, but for now I need to deny the offer. So no collaborations. I don't know. Maybe someday that'll change, but right now it's a one-man show. Right now, one-man show. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You guys seem to like him, though. Thank you very much. Roma Nation here on Rumble says, if Trump finds any corruption in any of the states, I don't think it would matter what any judge says, and Congress would be forced to make changes to voting to this country. Have you noticed President Trump doesn't really seem to be concerned in the slightest about midterms. He's not sweating. He's not panicking. He's not melting down. He's not even really, I don't know. It's almost like he doesn't care. I mean, we know he cares, but he's not worried. I think Trump has an ace or a series of aces up his sleeve. I think Trump is not worried or panicking about midterms because he's got a plan. I think he has a couple aces up his sleeve. He's got some cards yet to be played. And think about this, if anybody should be worried about midterms, it would be Trump. They're going to impeach him upright. They did it twice last time.
I don't think they'll fuck with him now.
This guy in for impeachment hearings. It's going to bog down the second half of his term. If anybody should be worried, it would be him. But he's not. He's not at all. You got to speculate.
I don't think they'll fuck with him because, all right, Hookstead's live, and I'd rather watch him, be honest with you. So
we've got a lot to cover tonight, including a major announcement that broke right before we went to air tonight. According to a Fox News pundit, we might have some major news that will be breaking tomorrow morning. So I'm going to put that on the screen for you when I get a chance here. And we're going to give everyone a few minutes to roll in, Get your questions ready. As always, guys, please make sure to like the video. If you want to be in the chat, you got to be subscribed. That way we keep the riffraff out of here. We keep the people who are causing problems out of here. As you can see from the thumbnail and description, we are going to be discussing at length the Strait of Hormuz crisis. We also have words of car bombs going off in Tehran. So we are going to get into a lot tonight. Don't know how long we'll go tonight. I do have some other stuff I have to do. So let me know in the chat where you're watching from tonight. You guys know the drill. All super chats. I don't know what we'll set the price at tonight. Maybe we'll start as low as $5. I'm feeling like I'm in a good mood. And those always get answered. Every bit helps. Goes right back into the channel. Obviously, we have now been at war for a month and a half, but we are in the ceasefire. Is this ceasefire going to hold? Is the Strait of Hormuz strategy working? What do we know? What don't we know? What comes next? We got a lot to work on. We got a lot to break down. So I'm going to give everyone a couple minutes here to roll in. Like I said, make sure you like the video so we can get the truth out there to as many people as possible. And make sure you are subscribed as well.
Yeah, I know he doesn't push it as much as the rest
in
of
the
them.
live chat. So I see you got South Carolina.
Him and that other dude
Colorado's
don't.
here.
I mean, they
More
talk about
South
it, but
Carolina. We got Michigan. Let's see a lot of American flags as well. We love seeing American flags. We got Germany, Florida, Missouri, California, the United Kingdom.
See,
we got San Antonio, Vermont, Georgia, Alaska, Southern California, Michigan again. See, Wisconsin is in the house. We got the football helmets behind me.
Oh, I thought that was West
have
Virginia.
People from all over the world. We got Oregon, Akron, Ohio. Love seeing the American flags in the chats. All right, we got Tampa Bay. So I'm just going to give everyone a couple minutes. We got Canada in the house. Love the Canadians. Don't love your government, but love the Canadians. While we wait for everyone to roll in, I am going to announce this will be the last Tuesday Night Live for probably a couple weeks. I have to leave the country. I have to go overseas. For those of you who watched the last live, that is not news to you. I really can't get into the exact details of why I'm going overseas. It was also the reason I had to get a haircut. The long hair is gone. Now we got the hair nice and trimmed. I will be overseas. Could be overseas for 10 days. Could be overseas for 2 weeks. Don't think I'll be needed for more than 3 weeks at most. But I will be overseas. You will get some videos, hopefully, if things permit during that time period. But there will be no lives because we will be on the move. And it's just not something that's going to be possible. So I don't want anyone to be surprised by that. You won't see me on the lives. You'll see me a little bit on regular videos. But I will be overseas for an extended period of time. And again, I wish I could go into it, but unfortunately, just not something that I have been told to discuss publicly at this time, but maybe down the road we will get into it. As many of you know, I was
I'm not
also
a college
down in March
football person
for about
though,
3 or 4 days, whatever it was. And so it'll be like that. Limited, but I will try to do my best as the war rages on. All right, we'll give everyone another moment to come in here. We got 2,700 viewers. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're up to 3,000. I'm seeing a lot of secret mission. Be safe. I'm not going to North Korea. I can promise you, I'm not going to North Korea. All right, a lot of people are saying where they're coming in from. We got New York. What do we got? Safe travels. I will be safe. We got Wisconsin in the house as well. All right. It's been 5 minutes. We are going to roll into it now. So we are 1 week into the ceasefire in the Iran war. For those of you who joined me last week, you know that I was very critical of the ceasefire. I thought that we had all the momentum after the incredible rescue mission of the F-15 crew. I thought we had our boot on the Iranian neck, and we should have kept pushing forward. Now, admittedly, I do not have the same information the president has. Anyone who claims they does is lying. But I thought it was a strategic and tactical error to reach a ceasefire agreement when we were absolutely pounding them around the clock every target we wanted, and no question we were winning. And so I'm going to do a poll right now because I want to know what you guys think too. I'm going to do a poll right now. Ceasefire A. So 1 week in, do you think the ceasefire is a mistake? I just threw the poll up.
Well, he has every right to,
So
though.
why do I think the ceasefire was a mistake? We had already gotten rid of their Air Force. We had gotten rid of their Navy. The Strait of Hormuz was.
Yeah, they should have pounced on it. I agree with him. I felt the same way. I think a lot of America feels the same way. They should have kept on going.
Your
Damn it,
biggest
Dave,
fear
already.
came true. Your beloved pet is suddenly missing, which
62%
were our big
polls say the
objectives
same
going
thing.
into the war. We wanted to completely eliminate their ability to ever have a nuke. In order to do that,
Yeah,
we had to
Jack
go
Rabbit,
get the
I
enriched
get that,
uranium, or we had to have them handed over. We do not have the enriched uranium, and the IRGC, which is now in control of the country, shows no indications
What's
that they
up,
have any
Rachel?
interest in handing it over. Right? So that objective straight up failed as of now. Right? I'm talking about objectives going into the ceasefire. We do not have the enriched uranium objective
Man, that's crazy smart.
uncompleted. We wanted regime change. The Ayatollah was killed and then replaced by the most extreme hardliners.
Hey, I
in-
will say this. Hey, thank you to everybody that follows me on Instagram and all, because I was just monetized on Instagram. I didn't know there was such a thing, but I appreciate it, especially in these days and times. Money's hard to come by, and if we can get these social media sites to pay us, hey, more for it, you know.
in the country. That's the fact of the matter.
But I won't
We
be
wanted to completely eliminate their ability to have any ballistic missiles. U.S. intelligence assessments and the intelligence assessments of our allies in the region put their missile stockpiles somewhere around 1,000. So that's 3 of the core objectives that were not met. 2 other
I
objectives
just need to get my
were
YouTube
eliminate
videos
their
back in,
Navy. We
monetized.
completed
I'll be
that,
all right
other
now.
than their small, fast attack boats, and eliminate their Air Force. We completed that. So we're 2 for 5 in objectives. We completed the 2 easiest objectives. 3, the most difficult, the enriched uranium, have not been completed at this time. That is just the simple reality. I'm not coming here to tell you guys what you want to hear. I don't care if you love Trump, you hate Trump, whatever your opinions are. I'm here to tell you the facts as
That's
they are.
what's up.
And the facts are 3 of our biggest objectives: uranium, regime, ballistic missiles, as of today, a week into the ceasefire, have not been completed. The United States then pivots. In an attempt to get the Strait of Hormuz open, we decide we're going to blockade the entrance/exit of the Strait of Hormuz for any ships that are coming from Iranian ports. And we're going to interdict those ships and possibly board those ships. Why is that an incredibly dangerous thing to do? Most of the ships that are in Iranian ports are Chinese ships. Now, some of those Chinese ships have been turned away. Some of them have diverted from Iranian ports to the UAE or Gulf allies. No problem with that. That's actually good news. But what happens if a Chinese ship, a Chinese government ship, tries to run the blockade? Well, obviously, you are going to have huge problems, because now you're boarding a Chinese communist ship. They are going to view that as an act of war. Furthermore, I can tell you I spoke to sources of mine in the SEAL community who explained in crystal clear terms that if you try to board a ship under intense fire, RPGs, machine guns, your helicopter's hovering, right? They got to hover. They got to throw ropes. It's going to be very easy to shoot them down. And now we're going to be losing Americans. We're going to have dead American service members trying to board these ships. So I want everyone to understand the stakes of what we are doing. Now, having said that, our blockade of the blockade, we're blockading their blockade essentially, has had some very positive effects so far. Mostly, it is racing towards bankrupting what is left of the Iranian leadership, the IRGC. They live on oil. They need to export their oil in shadow tanker fleets in order to bring money in to prop up the regime, prop up their nuke program, prop up their ballistic missile program, and prop up their drone program. We are financially strangling them. That is a fact. So that is a benefit
of how this is going so far. So there are some pluses, but we have to understand this is far from over. I would say we're not even actually at the halfway point yet, which brings me to this clip that I'm going to put up on the screen for me that Maria Bartiromo released on Twitter. She interviewed Trump. Let's watch her comments.
War about NATO. One thing that I'll leave you with, I said to him, Mr. President, you keep talking about the war like was. I said, is it over? He said, it's over. Join the whole interview tomorrow, Mornings with Maria, Fox Business, 6 to 9 a.m.
So Maria Bartiromo is saying she interviewed Trump, asked him, is the war over? And Trump said, yes, the war is over. I hope and pray sincerely Trump is not being. Could you guys hear the video?
Yeah, we can
Could
hear
you
it.
guys hear the video? Let me know if you can hear the video. I saw someone say, did you not hear the video? Get in the live chat. Let me know if you could hear her comments or not. Because if you can't hear her comments, it kind of ruins the point I'm trying to make here. So yes, you could hear her. All right, good. So she is saying Trump told her, so it was just a little quiet and it has an echo. There's nothing I can do about that. Nothing I can do about that. What she said was that President Trump told her the war is over. If this is how the war ends, with them having their enriched uranium, them having 1,000 ballistic missiles, them having the IRGC in control of the country, and a blockade of a blockade.
They don't.
That's not what we were going for. That's not victory. That is not the objectives we set out to accomplish. And at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is, were the objectives accomplished? And our three biggest ones, which I'll say again, uranium, regime, ballistic missiles, have not been met. So we can't end the war right now. We have to go further. We have to complete our objectives. And whether you supported the war starting or you were...
Listen, why would she come out and say that publicly? If Trump hasn't announced it yet, why would she come out and say some shit like that? See, it's that type of shit right there that kind of makes me go, what the fuck are these people doing? It ain't nobody's business until the man releases the fucking information. Because what happens if something goes wrong?
We're against the war starting. Both are completely defensible positions. There's good arguments for both of them, as many of my viewers know. I think the arguments in favor of getting rid of the Iranian threat outweigh the arguments against not doing it. But once you make the decision, you are going to engage in kinetic action. You are going to drop bombs. You are going to kill their leaders. You are going to fight. You have to finish the fight. All you do if you don't finish the fight is you leave them cornered like an injured animal, and they will race for a nuke. They have about 1,000 pounds, roughly, give or take a little bit, of near weapons grade enriched uranium. They are going to race for a nuke if we do not get that uranium. The IRGC has always wanted to build nukes. Many of the political leaders have always wanted to build nukes. There are some factions of the political leadership that don't want to build a nuke out of the fear that building one will get them attacked. Well, they got attacked. So now in their mind, they're thinking the only thing that's going to safeguard us is a North Korean model. The North Korean model is get nukes and nobody will ever mess with you. Now, we'll eat the sanctions. We understand that. But no one is going to mess with us. So I hope when Trump says the war is over, he is not serious, because if he is, that is not good. Now we got some super chats coming in. We'll start at $5. So we got $19.99. We got it from Anna. They had IRGC civilians around targets for the deadline. I think Trump offered it, the ceasefire, to allow time for them to settle down so they go home and clear the targets for strikes. He'll attack before the end of the ceasefire. So for those of you who don't know what Anna's talking about, she's 100% correct. When we announced the power plants and bridges day, what did the Iranian leadership do? They rushed out human shields around the power plants and they put them on the bridges. Why? So that if we struck, a lot of civilians would be killed, and then the Iranians would use that as a PR situation to prop up and say, look, they are out here killing civilians. No, they're not going to say, oh, we put these people there. We're using human shields, which is a war crime, by the way. So, yes, maybe that was the plan. Move, buy time, get the civilians out of there, and then
Jackrabbit.
we'll go in with the bombers. And on that note, that is actually a good note. Let me get this up on the screen for you. I'm going to put this up on the screen. Give me one moment. I see your live chats coming in. I'm going to get to them all, your super chats. So, what do we have here? These are B-52 bombers. You are looking at B-52 bombers that are believed to have left the United States and are on their way right now to the United Kingdom to stage for a further bombing runs against Iran. So we are gearing up at this moment to do more strikes, or we're setting the conditions, we're setting the table. We are moving bombers. B-52s can carry 70,000 pounds of bombs at a time. And we are moving them in position in case President Trump gives the order that the ceasefire is over and it is time to get back. It is time to get back to bombing targets in Iran. Now, you guys, we have 1,300 votes on is the ceasefire a mistake. 61% of you have voted in the first 10 minutes. 61% voting that yes, it is a mistake. So there you go. There you have it. 61% of the viewers believe it is a mistake. All right, we got some more super chats. So now we have a guy who says the ceasefire, this is Waykiss1. The ceasefire was a good idea. Trump knows what he is doing to corner the IRGC, which he has done. Now the IRGC are begging for further talks. Well, each side is claiming the other side is begging for talks. And let's talk about what happened in Pakistan. We pretty much agreed on nothing. In fact, I have a tweet here. I will put on the screen for you. Let me get it. My fiance did some reporting on this. If you don't know, my fiance is a White House reporter. This is my fiance, Shelby, doing some reporting. These were the points that were not agreed upon. Okay. It's a lot of points. This was from
Pakistan. You should have covered top.
They disagreed on ending uranium enrichment. They disagreed on dismantling their nuke facilities. They disagreed on handing over the uranium they already have. They disagreed on accepting a broader peace deal for regional allies in the Middle East as a whole. They disagreed on funding Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. And they disagreed on opening the Strait of Hormuz without charging tolls. So for those of you who don't know, right now, the IRGC is charging $2 million per ship that wants to pass the Strait of Hormuz. This was ongoing when the United States instituted the blockade on the blockade. $2 million a ship. If you paid it to them, they wouldn't blow your ship up. But now, if you pay it to them, we're not going to let you leave the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to stop you. So everyone's got guns pointed at everyone else. We're in a circular firing squad with the blockade of the blockade. So I don't really know. To me, my assessment, I don't like to say I know things for certain. My assessment of the situation is that we're not close to a deal. The IRGC has no interest in giving up their enriched uranium because they want to build the bomb. We have no interest in letting them keep the enriched uranium because then they can build the bomb. So we are in a standoff. We are in a ceasefire, but we are in a standoff. No question about it. Now, I know we're almost at 6,000 live viewers. If you guys just got here, make sure you like the video so we can get the truth out there to as many people as possible. Please make sure to subscribe as well. You got to subscribe if you want to be in the live chat. That is how, like I said, we keep the riff-raff away. Make sure that the trolls aren't in here. All right. We got more super chats coming in. I'll pull this off the screen. That is some reporting by my fiance, Shelby Talcott. All right. Remember, guys, we're doing $5 tonight. Why can't we send in autonomous tanks, drones, snipers, and machine gun FPV drones stations to neutralize or locate target or submarine ports underwater? I don't know what use that would be. You got to remember, their ballistic missiles are hidden in the mountains. So if we tried to send in autonomous tanks, they're going to see them coming and they're going to lay traps. They're going to blow them up. I don't know specifically what you mean to target. Now, we will talk later in the video about the theory that we are going to launch a ground operation to get the uranium, the pros, cons. What will that look like? Quite frankly, there are so many people on social media and on the internet talking about the ground raid option for Esfahan. Esfahan is one of their largest nuke sites. I think Fordo got blown up. It is their largest nuke site. And that is where they keep their near weapons grade enriched uranium. And I see all these bozos on social media who don't, quite frankly, have a fucking clue what they're talking about. Sorry for the language. I know it's a family show. It fires. You have people who are talking like they're literally on SEAL Team 6, who have no idea what that ground operation is going to look like. And it gets under my skin, quite frankly. But we don't need autonomous stuff. We've got drones. We can do the drone option, no problem. When it comes to other autonomous vehicles, things are going to get dicey rather quickly. So I don't know.
Is loud and clear. That is being put out by the Iranian side. Aditya Rajkal, my colleague, back with us. Aditya, while we have reports suggesting that there are going to be round 2 of those negotiations that are going to be taking place, but Iran there putting out a very clear warning to the United States saying,
appreciate you, Copper Top.
Certainly, it's funny how the Iranian social media, especially Iranian diplomats, are taking this entire war and the conflict that's been developing with no headway in the peace talks. And now the Iranian embassy in India is in fact mocking Trump and saying "Picture abhi baki hai," taking that cliche from the Indian cinema. But picture abhi baki hai indeed. And that was very much clear after the Pakistani talks really failed and there was no consensus that was developed during the Islamabad talks. And now Iran saying that it's funny how America and particularly US President Donald Trump repeatedly says that the US Navy and the the Iranian Navy and the Iranian Air Force is completely decimated, but still the war continues. And there is a retaliation that happens every time there is any kind of a provocation from the US or Israeli side. Particularly, the debate is completely shifted now from Iran or from the Middle East towards the Strait of Hormuz, which is a new flashpoint. And that's becoming a cause of concern because both US wants the nuclear enrichment, the uranium enrichment in Iran to be stopped for the next 20 years, and also the Strait of Hormuz to give a free passage by Iran and no dominance of Iran that area. Tehran rejects these offers and says this is not possible. We need uranium rights for enrichment, and we will also have dominance at this particular location across the Strait of Hormuz. So nearly 45 days after the war began, it does seem like there is no headway as of now. We'll have to, of course, wait and watch.
Bro, this dude's talking.
There will be fresh negotiations.
This dude's talking like this war's been dragging on for years. You've got some little boats, dude. America will smash them things.
The war continues. They're continuing to pound, Beirut. Of course, tonight there will be critical negotiations between Lebanon and Israel. But as of now, in the diplomatic parlance, we could say there are provocations, there are aggressive posturings that are happening ahead of the second round of talks.
Right, while diplomatic pressure is intensifying for that second round of talks, but will there be a direct impact if those talks will even take place, given the fact that the warnings that are being put out by both sides in regard to the choke point, the flashpoint of the conflict itself?
Well, that's right. That's an important question. How will things unfold? And if at all there is a second round of talks until then? Well, we will see fresh provocations continuously, but we are also seeing the maintenance of the aggressive posturing from both sides. They want their upper hand in negotiations whenever they happen next. And that's why the aggressive posturing from both sides continues. They want an edge in the talks. But, there are sources within the US also appreciating the kind of negotiations that were led by Gablaf, who is in fact the Iranian parliament. I see him as a future leader of Iran. On one hand, negotiation skills. On the other, they reject any kind of offers coming from his way. Remember, there were 21 hours of negotiations that took place in Islamabad. But even after that, there was no negotiation, just a statement by J.D. Vance, the US Vice President, and Trump again reacting to that negotiation, clearly indicating that Iranians want to negotiate, Iranians want ceasefire, but certainly that doesn't seem like on ground.
The Iranian Navy just radioed. I said earlier that 2 U.S. destroyers went through the Strait of Hormuz over the weekend, did not get blown up or attacked. Iran's Navy just radioed those U.S. destroyers to leave the strait, and the U.S. response was perfect. It's they just cited international maritime law and kept writing. I think I have the recording here. Let's just listen to
That's
it. Right?
fake news.
Explain it. Here we go.
How are these people following with this shit?
This is SEPA session. You must alter course and go back to the Indian Ocean immediately. If you don't obey my order, you will be targeted. Out.
Coalition Warship 121, engaged in transit tactics in accordance with international law. No challenge is attended to you.
U.S. Navy warship.
So the U.S. Navy just said, go screw. Iran says,
What's
we're
up,
gonna
Josh?
target you if you don't turn around. U.S. Navy. By the way, they had a
That shit was totally AI. I watched all that shit. They're trying to say that the fucking US Navy has got a sporty boat window on top of it with fucking snaps for that damn sunbrella for isinglass. I know probably most of y'all don't know what that is, but I promise you the Navy don't fucking have plastic window snaps. These dumb motherfuckers.
I don't know how realistic that is, to be quite honest with you. So this is another theory. We got $5 from Mad Million. No war means rest of war powers resolution. I think what you're saying is if you go to a ceasefire, the theory is it resets the clock on the war powers resolution, which requires Congress to take a vote once the U.S. president has conducted military operations. Here's the reality. The war powers resolution is meaningless. It's been meaningless for a long time. It's going to continue to be meaningless no matter who the next president is or the president after that. Congress has more or less abdicated its responsibility when it comes to war. Why have they abdicated their responsibility? I got two words for you. Iraq war. What do I mean by that? Congress voted for the Iraq war. It was authorized by Congress. A lot of idiots claim it was an illegal war. Not true. Congress voted on it. Then when the war started becoming unpopular, and I'm not personally saying whether the war should happen or not, but when the polling on the war went down, members of Congress started losing re-election races. So Congress pretty much made the decision, we're not going to vote on this stuff anymore. We're going to let the president do whatever the president wants, whether that's Obama in Libya, whether that's Trump right now in Iran, whatever it might be, whether it's Obama with Operation Timber Sycamore in Syria with arming the moderate jihadis. Congress doesn't want to get involved at all because they don't want to be responsible if things go south, right? So the war powers resolution is a joke. Rick Wayne, 5488 499. What do you think of Nate from Valhalla? Says of Trump and the whole Iran situation. Listen, I like Nate. I know Nate personally. I don't know him like insanely well. We talk from time to time. He's actually been super helpful. When I started doing the live streams and all that stuff, Nate was super, super helpful and kind of helping me understand. For those of you who don't know, Nate from Valhalla has a huge, huge YouTube page. He's very much against the war, not a fan of the war. He lays his reasons out for why he's not a fan of the war, why he thinks it's not going well. I personally disagree on some of the points he makes. I think he does occasionally. Some of the points he does make, I do agree with. I like Nate as a guy. We don't have to agree on everything.
There you go.
If you ever find yourself agreeing with someone on 100% of the things they say, you're in a cult. It's that simple. So I like Nate. Nate has been a huge help to me, a huge help to this YouTube channel. So you're not going to find me criticizing Nate. Even if we disagree, if Nate said something I had a huge problem with, I would get on the phone and call him. And we would handle it like adult men. We wouldn't handle it publicly on YouTube. And if you ever have a problem with someone, which I don't have a problem with Nate at all, to be clear, I think Nate has been, again, wonderful to me. If you ever have a problem with someone, get on the phone and handle it like an adult. Don't get on social media. That's clown behavior. So I disagree with some of what he says. I think occasionally our viewpoints overlap. But Nate as an individual he's been nothing but a solid dude to me. All right. We got $5. Come on. Hasn't Trump earned our trust? How many soldiers are dead? War is over. You said 0 soldiers are dead. 13 American service members lost their lives in this war. 13 of them. Not 0, 13. 13 Americans paid the ultimate price. And let's see some prayers in the live chat for not just them, but the families they left behind. 13 brave American heroes paid the ultimate sacrifice. 6 of them died at the same time.
I think a lot of
and
people
we had the people that were on the
right. think,
put their
shit.
missiles.
I think a lot of people get that disconnected, man. How far was he? Damn, he must have been way up here. My bad. A lot of people get disconnected from the war shit. You know, when somebody dies, that was somebody's dad or mother or, you know, brother, sister, husband, wife, whatever. They had family that cared about them. And I think people get numb to that, you know?
Real footage from this week. I'm sorry, it's from late last week. It's from like 4 or 5 days ago of guerrilla style fighters in Iran rolling up on a IRGC/Basij checkpoint. And let's watch. So I got to pause it there. I can't show the video. Well, let me get this off the screen so you guys can see it. What happened here is this guy with the AK right here comes in. You're going to hear some shots right there. And I got to pause the video. I can't show the rest of the video. I got to reposition my chair. Otherwise, I would be in huge trouble with YouTube. But yes, there are ambushes that are going on right now in Iran against IRGC, against Basij checkpoints, 100%, no question about it. Interesting. Just had something weird pop up. I'm looking at information as it comes in, so I'll pull this down now. We're going to get to the next one, $5. I don't believe he's ever had a real plan to hit the power plants. When has Trump ever told the enemy what he was going to hit? Fear tactic, art of war. I actually don't know if he had a plan either. I think he was trying to scare the shit out of the Iranians to force some kind of negotiations. But here's why that doesn't make sense strategically to me. We were winning big time, huge, across all boards. The only thing we hadn't completely controlled was the Strait of Hormuz. Now we're in a ceasefire. What is going on during this ceasefire? China and Russia are shipping Iran weapons around the clock, specifically air defense weapons. The F-15 that got shot down is believed to have been shot down by a Russian-provided MANPAD, which is a portable, shoulder-fired, heat-seeking missile. So, yes, we are restocking, we are flooding in, rearming, all of that. Russia, when this kicks off again, they're going to have those MANPADs. They're going to have more air defenses. Now, we've obliterated their most sophisticated air defense. No question about it. But MANPADs, if you can see the plane and you can get a lock, and an F-15 is not stealthy, right? It's not even that fast of a fighter jet. It's a big fighter jet designed to drop really big bombs. It's not meant for dog fighting, not really what it does. Those MANPADs, as we saw with the F-15 shoot down, matter a lot. All right. What's up next? We got Patriot Free 2917. The A-10s are on patrol. The A-10s have been amazing in this operation. They were huge getting the F-15 pilot. I don't know if we used them to get the weapons officer. We did use them to get the pilot. One of the A-10s ended up going down. He bailed out. The pilot bailed out over friendly territory, was rescued, and is in healthy condition. So the A-10s, they're always trying to retire the A-10. The A-10 shows up when you need it. It shows up when you need it, and it puts in work. No question about it. By the way, guys, if you have any information you want me to know, at the bottom of your screen, Instagram, David_Hookstead, XB Hookstead. My DMs are wide open. You guys have been amazing sending me information, sending me tips, sending me videos. I then hunt down those leads and I bring the internet information they don't see anywhere else. So if you have any information you want me to know, give me a follow on both sites. Hit me up in the DMs. I'm very responsive, and you guys have been crushing it. All right, Anna is back for another $20. Trump only offered the ceasefire for strategic purposes so he can say he did his best to not keep bombing them when he inevitably has to. I'm all for it. I was born in Tehran, still have family there. God bless the U.S. Anna, let me know what your family, if you've spoken to your family in Tehran, I hope they're all healthy. Hope they're all safe. Let me know what your family thinks. If your family supports this, I would love to hear that. And that could be it. This way, Trump can paint a PR image of, hey, I wanted to negotiate. We went to Pakistan. We'll probably have some other talks. We couldn't reach a deal. Like I showed you in my fiance's reporting, couldn't reach a deal on pretty much anything. And then Trump can say, I tried. Now we're going back to the bombs. Not a bad theory from Anna at all. All right, we got Bill Kennedy, 9554, $5. Mossad will back up uprising for true regime change. Very important for Israel. Yeah, but the problem is, as long as the IRGC is in control and they're the only ones with the guns, they are going to mow down anyone who takes to the streets. They're going to mow down and slaughter anyone who takes to the streets. They've already said that. They have told the people of Iran, if you leave your house, if you go out onto the streets to protest, we will kill you on the spot. And I have no doubt during the ceasefire, they're hunting down dissidents. They're hunting down anyone who supported America and are murdering them wholesale. They have restarted the mass executions of the protesters. They are mass executing the protesters from January, including young people. It is disgusting. It is despicable. It is, quite frankly, indefensible and unbelievably gross. All right, here we go. Some interesting stuff. So I'm going to put this up on the screen for you, and then we're going to get into some more super chats, but let me put this up on the screen for you. All right. So this is footage that shows the area where our planes, we blew up our planes during the rescue operation. So it looks like we cratered the runway to some degree. This is where you see those scorch marks. That's where the C-130s had to get blown up. Reportedly, what happened is so we built a runway inside a run. Let's use this opportunity to talk about the ground operation for the enriched uranium. Then I'll get back to the super chats. We built a secret airbase in Iran. Okay. We have the ability to do that. We have things called CCTs, which are combat controllers. The 24th STS has the best CCTs in the world. Then you have your tier 2 CCTs. CCTs literally will measure the soil in a hostile area, study it, and then determine whether or not they can quickly build a runway, not a high-speed runway like you would see at a regular airbase, but a rudimentary runway that you can land C-130.
This isn't about produce. It's about what you produce with it. With shipped, no order is ordinary.
The plan was to use that runway to try to take the enriched uranium, to try to launch an assault on Esfahan. I don't want to get too much into details here because I don't want to give the enemy any tips. We have teams inside of the U.S. military that train on this mission. They train to capture nuke material, chemical weapons, biological weapons. They are the best in the world. I know at least one unit has those guys, one tier 1 unit. The Army's Special Mission Unit. I believe SEAL Team 6 has that capability as well, but I would actually have to go and check on that. I do believe they do. I think they both can do it. So what would happen is you would have to get them on the ground.
How badass.
You'd have to pretty much control the entire airspace. Your CCT.
That our military snuck in behind enemy lines and built a fucking runway. Huh? That says a lot in itself.
Your Air Force guy would be calling in the planes. He's coordinating. He's fusing the planes in the sky with the guy.
All right, I've had enough of this shit for tonight. Oh, shit, I've had enough of damn war shit. So, who thinks it's over? You think that damn news lady was telling the truth? Or you think she was just talking? And look, if the war was over, I don't see why Iran wouldn't be bragging. You know what I mean? They'd be like, we whooped the United States. We brought them to their knees. They ain't posted shit. So I don't think that's true. But who knows? We'll see. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good night. And we'll see you tomorrow. Remember, y'all check back in when that video posts. It's going to be a while. It's saying it's going to be a couple hours, but I need you to watch it. I need you to share it. We need to get the truth out there. Appreciate y'all. Peace.